Chapter 1399. This was because they had not sensed anyone entering at all. However, the other party had actually gone in, which made them extremely surprised. Fortunately, the sect leader was extremely powerful and was able to discover the other party. Otherwise, if the other party had secretly obtained the subdivinity crystal, they would have committed a great sin. Their faces were gloomy as they quickly attacked, trying their best to find the Crimson Dragon and the others. "Where are you going?" "Stay here." Soon, the two discovered Lin Xian and the others and quickly attacked. A beam of green light lit up. Like a green python, it quickly streaked across the sky and charged towards Lin Xian and the others. Rumble! The Crimson Dragon swung its tail and slapped the sky, directly blocking the green Flood Dragon's shadow. However, the right emissary also attacked on the other side. A blade light lit up like cold iron, shining brightly in the void. A terrifying and boundless power quickly enveloped Lin Xian and the others. The two emissaries were both half-step kings. At this moment, they attacked at the same time, and the power was extremely terrifying. In an instant, the entire void exploded. This power was too terrifying. Even a ninth heaven venerable would not be able to resist it. Lin Xian snorted coldly and crazily activated the great dragon sword soul in his body, erupting with unparalleled fighting strength. He pulled out the Lone Star Sword and continuously waved it in the air. Suddenly, a huge sword light fell from the sky, as if it was going to cut the sky in half. At the same time, his palms were constantly forming seals. Qiong Qi, Tianpeng, and Di Jiang, three huge figures appeared in the sky and roared rapidly. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered as he raised his fighting strength to the extreme. Rumble! Terrifying energy exploded, but it blocked the attacks of the two half-step kings. What? How is this possible? The left and right emissaries were shocked. One had to know that they were half-step kings, and their strength was extremely terrifying. Venerable realm martial artists could not contend with them at all, although there was a half-step king Crimson Dragon on the other side. The other youth was only a venerable realm martial artist. However, he was still able to resist their attacks. It was simply too inconceivable. Just as they were stunned, the Crimson Dragon wrapped everyone and turned into a red light, instantly disappearing into the horizon. Damn it! Damn it! When the left and right messengers saw this scene, their faces instantly darkened as they roared continuously. However, they didn't chase after him in the end. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon and the others flew quickly with Lin Xian and finally returned to the spirit boat. Puff! Luo Bingshan spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was abnormally pale. The attacks from the two kings had caused him to suffer heavy injuries. Murong Qingqing's jade-like face was also deathly pale, and her entire person seemed incomparably dispirited. Damn it! I was too careless. I didn't expect two kings to be so terrifying. Lin Xian's face was gloomy as he suppressed the injuries in his body. He quickly took out some spirit pills and fed them to the two of them. Fortunately, he had many spirit pills and miraculous medicines in his possession that were able to suppress their injuries. Otherwise, if it was anyone else, they would probably not be able to leave alive. After feeding Murong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan a large amount of elixirs, Lin Xian sent them to a secret room to rest. Then he himself went to a secret room and went into seclusion. This time, they had experienced the terror of a king. Although it was only one attack, it was not something they could withstand. Fortunately, they had the Starry Sky armor. Otherwise, they would have been in danger this time. No, I have to improve my strength. I have to improve my strength. Lin Xian clenched his fists. Although he was now in the supremacy realm, and a peak 9th level supremacy could not contend against him. It was still not enough. Once he encountered a true king, he would not be able to fight back at all. Today was a very good proof. However, he was unwilling. He would not give in. He wanted power. Otherwise, he would not be able to obtain the subdivine crystal at all. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Lin Xian swallowed a few spirit pills and quickly recovered from his injuries. Fortunately, he had many spirit pills in his possession. Moreover, the longevity incantation was extremely magical and could greatly increase his recovery speed. Moreover, during this period of time, he had been cultivating the furious dragon mantra, causing his qi and blood to be vigorous and his vitality to be extremely strong. Therefore, he recovered very quickly. In just one day, he had recovered from all the injuries on his body. If other supremacies saw this scene, their jaws would definitely drop. One had to know that that was the attack of a king. If it was anyone else, it would probably take them a year and a half to completely recover. As for Lin Xian, it only took him a day to completely recover. After recovering his body, Lin Xian did not immediately come out. Instead, he continued to cultivate and adjusted his state to its peak. Then he took out the Blood Soul Stone and crazily absorbed it. Not only that, he was also multitasking. While absorbing the power of the Blood Soul Stone, he was also increasing the speed at which he absorbed the sea god ice. There was no other way. He had to cultivate with all his might and break through to the 9th level of the supremacy realm as soon as possible. Otherwise, he would not be able to enter the demon abyss if he was not strong enough. While Lin Xian was cultivating, the battle in the demon abyss was still ongoing. The two kings fought until the sky was dark. But in the end, they realized that neither of them could do anything to the other. The Black Dragon sect leader's face was terrifyingly gloomy. He remembered that half a year ago, there were no such terrifying monsters below. But in just half a year, a king-level monster had appeared. Moreover, its strength was not weaker than his at all. This made him so angry that he went crazy. With the king-level monster below, he could not enter the demon abyss again, let alone obtain the subdivine crystal. Humph! The Black Dragon sect leader snorted coldly and sat cross-legged above the demon abyss. As he cultivated and recovered, he thought about how to enter the demon abyss below to snatch the subdivine crystal. The king-level monster below did not attack again. Instead, it withdrew its 9 arms that were more than 3,000 meters long. However, although it did not attack, it still looked around vigilantly, especially the Black Dragon sect leader, who was above the Sky Palace. The left and right envoys who were wandering around were even more careful. Not only that, the 4 protectors of the Black Dragon sect had also rushed over. They were also careful in their defense. Last time, the enemy had sneaked in without anyone noticing, which made them extremely alarmed. Therefore, this time, they were especially careful and absolutely did not allow anyone to disturb them. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon returned once again. This time, it also brought the snow-white little monkey. The two of them secretly sneaked nearby. He wanted to use the power of Little White's treasure bowl to see if he could directly steal the subdivine crystal. Wu-Ji, the snow-white little monkey hugged the small bowl and kept casting spells. However, it did not succeed this time. This made Little White scratch its ears and cheeks anxiously and stomp its feet. Alas, it really didn't work. The Crimson Dragon also sighed. This result was not too surprising. After all, the demon abyss in front of them was covered by a king's domain. Little White had not entered the king realm yet, so it was probably unable to steal anything from the king's domain. Forget it. Let's go back. The Crimson Dragon's figure flashed and brought the snow-white little monkey back. For a moment, the demon abyss calmed down, but the atmosphere was incomparably heavy. The entire southern heaven region fell into a state of silence. Chapter 1400. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, An extremely powerful aura suddenly erupted from somewhere high up in the sky of Xia country. It was like a volcanic eruption. However, the aura quickly disappeared. It was emitted by Lin Xian. Over the past 10 days, he had successfully absorbed the energy in the Blood Soul Stone and half of the Sea God's Ice's energy. This allowed his cultivation to break through again and reach the 9th level of the Venerable Realm. After entering the 9th level of the Venerable Realm, Lin Xian's strength had improved greatly in all aspects, especially his combat strength. It was several times stronger than before. Right now, Venerable Realm martial artists were no longer his match. Even half-step kings might not necessarily be his match. Sensing Lin Xian's breakthrough, everyone came out. Among them, Murong Qingcheng had already recovered from his injuries after 10 days of recuperation. Luo Bingshan's face was still a little pale, but his life was no longer in danger. "You've broken through?" Murong Qingcheng asked. 9th level of the Venerable Realm. Lin Xian nodded and heaved a sigh of relief. He had done his best in the past 10 days. However, the Crimson Dragon sighed. "Although I've broken through and my strength has increased greatly, I still can't defeat a King Realm warrior." It couldn't be helped. The King Realm and the Venerable Realm were two different realms. It could be said that one was in the sky and the other was on the ground. No matter how amazing a genius was, it was impossible for a Venerable Realm warrior to fight a King Realm warrior. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded. Ruslan was right. Once one entered the King Realm, one's life and strength would change. It was not something a Venerable Realm warrior could contend against. Moreover, a King Realm warrior also had a King Realm which was extremely terrifying. Unless one had the help of a King Realm warrior's remnant soul like last time in the remote sky secret realm, it was possible to contend against a King Realm warrior. It was really impossible under other circumstances. Even if Lin Xian used the 10,000 Beast Ding, he couldn't do it. Although the 10,000 Beast Ding was a complete Earth rank artifact, with Lin Xian's current strength, he couldn't unleash the true power of the 10,000 Beast Ding. Sigh. I'm so angry. If my strength was still present, then how could I possibly allow those two fellows who just entered the King Realm to act arrogantly? I would have sent them flying with a single slap. The Crimson Dragon was very depressed. One had to know that he could beat up the leader of the Black Dragon cult before. "You guys should rest on the spirit boat. I'll go out with Ruslan and see if there's any other way," Lin Xian said to Murong Qingcheng. "All right, be careful. Don't ever provoke a king again," Murong Qingcheng said with concern. "Don't worry, I'm not that stupid." Lin Xian smiled and left the spirit boat state with the Crimson Dragon. When the two were far away, the Crimson Dragon asked excitedly, "Boy, do you have an idea?" "I do have an idea, but I don't know if it will work." Lin Xian took a deep breath and his eyes shone brightly. "There is an idea, but I don't know if it will work. But we have to try no matter what," Lin Xian said in a deep voice. "What is it? Tell me quickly," the Crimson Dragon said anxiously, because until now he still hadn't thought of a way to deal with a king. "Have you forgotten about the King's Slaughter Formation?" Lin Xian said. "What? You want to use the King's Slaughter Formation?" The Crimson Dragon was shocked when he heard Lin Xian. "That's a life-saving item. If you use it now, what will you do in the future?" "We'll talk about the future in the future. At most, we'll leave the Southern Heaven region after we obtain the Sub-God Crystal Scripture." Lin Xian's voice was firm. In any case, he had to obtain the Sub-God Crystal this time. After all, if he missed this opportunity, he probably wouldn't be able to find it again. Indeed, the Sub-God Crystal was extremely precious. Even the Martial Sky continent didn't have it, let alone other places. Perhaps this was his only chance. Therefore, Lin Xian didn't want to give up. Damn, if I knew this would happen, I would have arranged a few more King's Slaughter formations. The Crimson Dragon stomped his feet in anger. He didn't think that the current situation would be so troublesome. One king slaughter formation was clearly not enough. There's no use complaining. Moreover, one king slaughter formation has already used up the materials we prepared. Even if you want to make a second one, there won't be any materials left. Lin Xian said, "What we need to do now is to determine the location of the sub-god crystal as much as possible. We have to get it in one strike. After all, the king's slaughter formation won't be able to last for long. We have to maximize its effectiveness." The two of them conversed as they flew. Finally, they arrived at the vicinity of the Devil Abyss. There's more people? The Crimson Dragon scanned with his soul force and discovered that there were 4 more people. Yes, judging from their auras, they should be the 4 great protectors of the Black Dragon cult. Lin Xian's gaze was piercingly cold. Now that the 8 Great Hall Masters had been killed by him, the auras of the 4 people in front of him were even stronger than the 8 Great Hall Masters. Clearly, they were the 4 great protectors. He didn't expect that other than the left and right emissaries, there would be another 4 great protectors. It seemed that the Black Dragon cult's leader was determined to get the sub-god crystal. Ruzalong, think of a way to make the 2 kings fight again. Otherwise, we won't have a chance. Lin Xian observed for a while and quickly said, "Indeed, the 2 kings hadn't moved yet. If they made a move now, it would definitely attract the attention of the 2 kings. At that time, it would be difficult for them to escape. Therefore, if they wanted to take advantage of the situation, they had to make the 2 kings fight first. At that time, the 2 kings inside wouldn't have the energy to care about them. The best plan was to use the king's slaughter formation to enter the Devil Abyss below. That's easy. Leave it to me." The Crimson Dragon quickly waved his dragon claws. Although he hadn't fully recovered his strength, it was still easy for him to make the 2 kings fight. A terrifying divine dragon's aura gushed out and turned into a huge dragon figure that quickly charged into the Devil Abyss below. Although this attack wasn't powerful enough from the aura, those who didn't know would think that it was an attack from a king. It seemed that the Crimson Dragon had a plan. Indeed, when the king monster below saw the huge dragon figure, he immediately roared in all directions. That roar was filled with anger, and he quickly counterattacked. Boom! 9 terrifying arms instantly flew out from below like a blood-red river and grabbed at the sky. The huge dragon figure that the Crimson Dragon used was similar to the Black Dragon cult's leader's aura. They both had dragon's aura. Therefore, the king monster below thought that the Black Dragon cult's leader had attacked again. This made it furious. It naturally knew that the other party had come to steal the sub-god crystal. However, it wouldn't let the other party succeed, no matter what. Therefore, this time, it launched a fierce counterattack. The 9 arms waved and tore apart the huge dragon figure that the Crimson Dragon had unleashed. Then, it charged at the Black Dragon cult's leader in an extremely violent manner. Wong, the Black Dragon cult's leader, suddenly opened his eyes. 2 terrifying rays of light shot out from his green eyes and shattered the void in front of him. Chapter 14:1. Thank you, my dear reader. Please support me. Please subscribe. Buzz, the Black Dragon sect leader, suddenly opened his eyes. 2 terrifying beams of light shot out from his emerald eyes, shattering the void in front of him. He had naturally sensed the giant dragon's shadow and knew that someone was trying to sow discord between them. Their goal was to make him fight with the king demonic beast below so that they could reap the benefits. Needless to say, it was the group of people who had escaped earlier. Instantly, he snorted coldly. So what if he fought with the king demonic beast below? Did those people really think that they could enter the demonic abyss below? They're too naive. One had to know that there was a king domain in the demonic abyss below. Even he did not dare to go down there easily, let alone a few supremacies. Thinking of this, He quickly sent a voice transmission to the left and right messengers and the 4 great protectors to quickly find the other party. Meanwhile, he moved quickly and dodged the attack of the 9 arms. Then he stood in the air, his black robe fluttering. His eyes were as sharp as swords, and his body emitted the terrifying aura of a king. Terrifying energy surged, shaking the surroundings. In the next moment, he raised his palm, and countless black dragon flames gathered to form a black fire dragon. The 2 kings fought again. The left and right messengers and the 4 great protectors received the order to quickly search for the other party. At the same time, they set up a formation to completely cover the surroundings. This time, they absolutely could not allow anyone to enter. "Who is it? Who are you hiding there sneakily? Come out." Soon, the left and right messengers shouted coldly. Their voices were like thunder sweeping through all the rooms. "Humph!" Lin Xian snorted coldly and descended from the sky. This time, he did not conceal himself because he wanted to deal with the people in front of him here. "Who are you?" The left and right messengers and the 4 great protectors saw the figure in front of them and immediately became alert. "The person who wants your lives." Lin Xian snorted coldly. He quickly pulled out the lone star sword and strode forward. "Go! Kill him!" The left green dragon envoy shouted coldly. However, he did not attack. Instead, one of the 4 great protectors behind him smiled maliciously and walked out quickly. He was the 4th great protector, and his cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th heaven realm. "Brat, I don't care who you are. Since you dare to come here, then die." The 4th protector grinned maliciously as he raised his palm and slapped out swiftly. Boom! A resplendent light blossomed from his palm. As he waved his hand, the sound of wind and thunder was deafening. This attack was terrifying. Ordinary venerable ones would not be able to resist it at all. However, Lin Xian was different. His battle prowess had already surpassed that of a 9th heaven venerable. Moreover, he had just broken through, and his strength had increased greatly again. It could be said that he was invincible in the venerable realm. Lin Xian didn't even try to dodge his opponent's attack. Instead, he roared and raised his fist to meet the attack. Whoosh! Wrapped in a terrifying cold air, this fist ruthlessly collided with the opponent's palm. Suddenly, an extremely terrifying energy burst out, shaking the entire space. Boom! His voice shook the heavens, and waves of energy rolled out. They were like ocean waves, reaching 100 zhang high as they spread out in all directions. However, as soon as these air waves had the courage, a layer of blue ice crystals condensed and froze them in the void like ice sculptures. No! The 4th protector also screamed in agony. His palm exploded, revealing eerie, white bones. He roared crazily as his pupils constricted in disbelief. His opponent's cultivation was only at the 9th heaven, which was inferior to his. However, this punch was too terrifying. It directly exploded his palm. The asterisk eminent. Who is he? What kind of power is this? The 4th protector's scalp went numb as he quickly retreated. However, as soon as he moved, countless ice crystals formed on his body as if they were going to freeze him into an ice cube. Get lost! The 4th protector roared angrily as a majestic energy burst out from his body. His entire body was glowing, forming materialized sword and saber radiance that rushed in all directions, trying to shatter the ice on his body. However, no matter how he resisted, it was useless. Soon, his body was frozen by the ice. Even the qi and blood in his body were frozen into ice cubes. His entire body turned into an ice sculpture, and he instantly stopped breathing. What? How is this possible? Behind him, the 3 protectors and the left and right messengers were shocked when they saw this scene. They couldn't believe it. What kind of technique was this? How could it kill the fourth protector in an instant? Perhaps even the first protector couldn't do it. Only the left and right messengers could do this. However, the left and right messengers could do it because they were half-step kings, surpassing the peak of the ninth heaven. But why did the other party do it? One had to know that the other party's cultivation was only at the early ninth heaven. In their eyes, he was pitifully weak. However, his battle prowess made them shudder. The three of you go together. You must capture this brat. The right messenger said coldly. He was very curious. Why did the other party have such powerful battle prowess? Only by capturing the other party could he find out the secret. Hearing the right messenger's words, the three protectors didn't hesitate and quickly flew out. If the three of them were to deal with a ninth heaven brat at any other time, they would definitely disdain it. This was because they didn't care about such ants. However, they couldn't do it now. The other party's strength was too strong. They had to go all out and take him seriously. The first protector was an old man. He had a pale face and white hair. Although his eyes had seen the vicissitudes of life, they were incomparably sharp. As his eyes moved, there was a boundless, murderous aura surrounding him. The second protector was a middle-aged woman. She wore a long white dress and had a pair of hidden swords on her back that flickered with a cold light. The third protector was a middle-aged man. He also wore a black robe. However, under the black robe, one could see that he was wearing a golden armor. Upon receiving the order, the three of them exploded with all their strength in an instant. Terrifying auras spread out in all directions, setting off thousands of waves. Then, the three of them stomped their feet and soared up almost at the same time. They turned into lightning and charged toward Lin Xian. What a waste of time. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He was in a hurry and didn't want to waste time with the other party. Therefore, without any hesitation, he immediately used the void shattering finger. With a flick of his finger, 3 void shattering fingers flew out like arrows. Puff, puff, puff. In the next moment, 3 deep sounds rang out. Blood splattered in the air. The 3 protectors' bodies also appeared in the air and stopped in midair. No, Ken. The 3 of them were bleeding from between their eyebrows. Their faces were full of shock. They didn't believe that the other party could kill the 3 of them in an instant. This wasn't something that a supremacy could do. Plop, plop, plop. The 3 of them fell from the sky. What? They're all dead? The left and right messengers widened their eyes in disbelief. This method was too terrifying. Although the other party's cultivation was only at 9th heaven supremacy, his battle strength was definitely not inferior to the 2 of them. At the thought of this, the 2 messengers' faces became very ugly. This was because the 4 protectors under them were all dead. Chapter 14:02. What? They're all dead? The 2 envoys widened their eyes in disbelief. This method was too terrifying. Although the other party was only a 9th level venerable, his battle prowess was definitely not inferior to them. Thinking of this, the 2 envoys' faces turned ugly because their 4 great protectors were all dead. This was an unimaginable loss for them. Because their black dragon religion did not have many mysterious crystals left, it would be difficult to create another expert like this. Unless their religion master could obtain another piece of subgod crystal. This matter was originally not difficult, but now that another king-level monster had appeared in the demonic abyss, it would not be easy to obtain another subgod crystal. Therefore, the 2 of them were incomparably furious. Kill! With a furious roar, the 2 of them rushed toward Lin Xian with murderous intent. Light shone like the sun, and even more so like a powerful god of war. 1 each. Hurry up! Lin Xian said to the crimson dragon beside him. Piece of cake! The crimson dragon had recovered his half-step king cultivation and was very powerful. Coupled with his experience and cultivation technique, dealing with a half-step king was no different from beating him up. Soon, the Crimson Dragon faced the Green Dragon, left envoy. As for Lin Xian, he was up against the right envoy. The battle erupted. The right envoy did not have the mist, but directly raised his fist and waved it. Like an ancient demonic beast awakening, it had the power to tear apart the heavens and earth. That terrifying energy directly enveloped Lin Xian. Puff! A sword light lit up like a peerless divine sword and split apart the opponent's fist aura. Then, the long sword stabbed out like a dragon. Unfettered palm. The right envoy roared and waved his palms, forming a huge white vortex. The white vortex was like a combination of countless heavenly blades spinning rapidly in the air, wanting to cut Lin Xian in half. Wherever it passed, countless cracks appeared in the void. Lin Xian coldly roared. His expression was solemn as he quickly activated the star armor and covered his entire body. Then his long sword trembled, and countless sword lights turned into blazing rainbows that quickly swept out in all directions. Bang, bang! Lin Xian's sword light was too terrifying. It contained the power of the great dragon sword soul and was incomparably fierce. It directly forced the right emissary to retreat. The carefree right emissary retreated as blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. He roared furiously, and his whole person completely entered into a berserk state. That was because he could not tolerate a ninth heaven-venerable tier injuring him. Kill! Lin Xian also let out a loud roar as he raised his sword and charged forward. He was like the god of slaughter. His entire body was emitting a terrifying sword radiance. Countless gigantic swords were falling from the sky. This scene was too terrifying. The right emissary of freedom was both shocked and furious. He didn't expect the other party to be so powerful. His combat strength still surpassed his own. Impossible. I don't believe it. I don't believe that you are stronger than me. The carefree right emissary seemed to have gone mad. His entire body was radiating light, and he looked like a peerless, ferocious beast. Humph! You're just a piece of trash who used external force to forcefully raise your cultivation. Do you really think that you're invincible? Let me tell you, in front of me, you're just an ant. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous as his battle-intent sword. His entire body emitted a powerful battle intent. In the next moment, he waved the lone star sword in his hand and continuously slashed at his opponent. Lin Xian's aura was too powerful. He was like the god of slaughter as he continuously waved his sword. It was as if he wanted to destroy the entire sky. The right emissary of freedom spat out blood again as he continued to chase. A trace of shock appeared in his eyes. The other party's aura was too powerful, far surpassing his own. Run! He was terrified. Moreover, the other party was right. He had used external force to raise his cultivation, so his foundation was extremely unstable. Moreover, his combat strength was also lower than a normal half-step king. Normally, this kind of thing was nothing because there were not many people in Tianan region who had a higher cultivation than him. But now, facing Lin Xian, all of his flaws were exposed. This was like having a powerful strength, but being unable to use it to its fullest extent. This was because this strength was not cultivated by himself. However, Lin Xian was different. Every step of his cultivation was obtained by himself. Moreover, he had experienced hundreds of battles and could be said to be extremely powerful. He also had many kinds of earth-tier martial arts in his hands. Once he used them, his strength would exceed his own by more than 10 times. Therefore, the two sides were not on the same level. Let's end this. Lin Xian's voice was ice cold. His entire body was surrounded by dazzling sword light. The sword in his hand also erupted with boundless aura. The sword pierced out like a heavenly sword. This sword made the whole world tremble. The right emissary of freedom's expression changed greatly. There was nothing he could do. This sword was too terrifying. It made him tremble incomparably. He knew that with his own strength he would not be able to dodge this attack. Therefore, at the crucial moment, he quickly patted all the joints in his body 18 times before spitting out 3 mouthfuls of blood. Black Dragon's secret art. This was a life-saving technique given to them by the Black Dragon sex leader. He originally thought that he would not need to use it, but he did not expect to use it now. After spitting out 3 mouthfuls of blood, the right emissary of freedom became extremely pale. It was as if he would fall at any time. However, he still gritted his teeth and quickly waved his hand. Suddenly, the 3 clouds of blood mist in front of him condensed. Moreover, a black flame was born from within. It enveloped the right emissary of freedom and quickly rushed into the sky. Puff! The sword slashed down and hit the black flame that was about to escape. The right emissary of freedom let out a blood-curdling scream. Then, blood spurted out again. However, the black flame was still quickly disappearing into the sky. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. He was greatly surprised. He did not expect the right emissary of freedom to have such a life-saving technique. Judging from the aura, it seemed to be the aura of the Black Dragon sex leader. It seemed that it would be troublesome to kill the right emissary of freedom. On the other side, the left green dragon emissary was beaten up by the crimson dragon. He was covered in wounds. When he saw the right emissary of freedom escaping, he also used the same method to escape. The crimson dragon snorted coldly. It wanted to chase after the right emissary of freedom, but it was stopped by Lin Xian. Forget it. It's just 2 pieces of trash. Let them run. Let's move quickly. All right, I'll listen to you. The crimson dragon nodded. Then, the 2 of them quickly flew down. The battle seemed very long, but it was actually very short. The Black Dragon sex leader did not even have time to react. When he did, Lin Xian and the crimson dragon had already descended to an altitude of 500 meters. Lin Xian hovered in midair with an extremely solemn expression, because at this height, he could clearly sense the terrifying aura of the king domain below. That aura made him have no choice but to use the cosmic armor to protect himself. This is the power of a king domain. It's too terrifying. Lin Xian's eyes flickered and erupted with a resplendent light. He swore that he would definitely enter the king domain and obtain this power. Chapter 1403. This is the power of a king realm expert. It's too terrifying. Lin Xian's eyes flickered and emitted a resplendent light. He swore that he would definitely enter the king realm and possess this power. At this moment, the king realm expert and Black Dragon sex leader, who were fighting fiercely, noticed the existence of Lin Xian and the crimson dragon. However, this time, the 2 kings didn't attack, and instead revealed a trace of disdain, because in their opinion, it was simply a fantasy for these 2 to enter the devil abyss below. Humph, reckless idiots. With your strength, you want to enter the devil abyss below? The Black Dragon sex leader coldly snorted with disdain. Even he had to be careful and use all his strength to deal with the devil abyss. How could the 2 venerables below enter? He probably didn't even need to make a move, as the 2 would be mercilessly killed by the energy within the devil abyss. These 2 fellows actually didn't make a move. Lin Xian and the crimson dragon were stunned for a moment before they became overjoyed. They also understood why the other party didn't make a move, because in everyone's opinion, the 2 of them didn't have the qualifications to enter the devil abyss. Indeed, under normal circumstances, the 2 of them wouldn't be able to enter. Although the crimson dragon was a king realm expert and Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul, the 2 of them were still too weak to contend against a king realm expert. However, the real situation was different. Lin Xian had a king realm expert's killing formation. Its power wasn't any weaker than a king realm expert's. Therefore, they had the opportunity to enter the devil abyss below. This was something that the Black Dragon Sect's leader and the king realm expert didn't know. Therefore, this created an opportunity for Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon. Attack! Lin Xian shouted, and then used the king realm expert's killing formation. Instantly, he and the Crimson Dragon each took a corner of the formation and turned into a gust of wind as they quickly charged downwards. You really dare to go down? What an idiot! You're courting death! Seeing this scene, the Black Dragon Sect's leader sneered with disdain. The other king realm expert also snorted. However, they were soon stunned because they discovered that the two of them had actually broken through the fog outside the devil abyss. How is this possible? The Black Dragon Sect's leader's eyelids twitched, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. After all, that was a king domain. Even he had to be careful when dealing with it, and there was no way anyone below king level could break through it. Not to mention breaking it. He probably couldn't even get close to it. Yet now, two kids at the Exalt realm had actually accomplished it. This was too inconceivable. The unknown king demonic beast also roared. Suddenly, 3 blood-red arms shot down from the sky, trying to stop Lin Xian, and Yi Shiwen, the Black Dragon religious leader, also coldly snorted. He extended a black, dragon-like palm and quickly pressed it downward. However, the two of them were still a step too late. Below, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon wielded the King Killer Ray. Like a heavenly blade, they quickly broke through the surrounding fog and entered the devil abyss. Boom! The attacks of the King Beast and the Black Dragon religious leader collided in the air and exploded with resplendent light. Countless bursts of energy erupted and swept through the world. However, it did not have any effect. Damn it! The Black Dragon religious leader's expression was incomparably ugly. He did not expect that he would be careless and allow 2 ants to enter below. At the thought of this, he felt like he was going crazy. With a low roar, his body swayed, and like a black ghost, he quickly charged downward. However, he was quickly stopped by the other 6 arms. The 6 arms waved like heavenly rivers, forming a powerful defense and blocking the Black Dragon religious leader. You're courting death. Get lost! The Black Dragon religious leader roared. His body erupted with terrifying energy as he quickly counterattacked. Then, the 2 kings started fighting again. Below, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon relied on the King Killer Ray to completely enter the devil abyss. The King Killer Ray was created by the Crimson Dragon using countless heavenly treasures and several months of time. It could be said to be extremely terrifying. It was equivalent to a king domain for a short period of time. As long as the King Killer Ray was present, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon would definitely be safe. However, the only drawback was that the King Killer Ray's energy was limited and could not exist for long. Therefore, there was not much time left for Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon. After entering the devil abyss, Lin Xian quickly spread out his soul power to explore the surroundings. The Crimson Dragon was also constantly looking around. The periphery of the devil abyss was the same as before. Countless stone tablets were inserted, and the fog was emitted from these stone tablets. Lin Xian also discovered that the king monster below was not inside the devil abyss, but was only at the periphery. In the depths of the devil abyss, the fog was very dense. Soul power could not pass through, so he did not know what was going on inside. However, the two of them controlled the King Killer Ray and cut through the thorns and thorns. They tore through the thick fog and quickly walked inside. However, at this time, Lin Xian's body trembled. He felt as if he was being watched by a huge monster. In the next moment, he suddenly turned around and saw that, in the distance, 2 red dots of light had lit up in the fog. They looked like red flames. It was a pair of eyes. They were very angry, with monstrous anger and a terrifying pressure. Even a venerable one, at the peak of venerable one's mind, would probably shatter, and his body would explode from the glare. Fortunately, Lin Xian was now in the King Killer Ray. Moreover, he had the dragon sword soul in his body, which could resist a part of the King Killer Ray's pressure. Therefore, he was safe and sound under this gaze. However, this gaze still made his heart jump. On the side, the Crimson Dragon's expression was also dignified. Damn it, this should be the other king monster. Be careful, don't be entangled by it. Our time is limited. Lin Xian nodded and controlled the King Killer Ray with all his strength. The two of them quickly moved forward. Behind them, the fiery red eyes saw this scene and were incomparably angry. In the next moment, a low roar came from all directions, shaking the surrounding void and shattering the fog. A red light, like lightning with a crystalline aura, quickly rushed toward Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon. *CK. Ben Huang didn't show his power. Do you really think we're easy to bully? The Crimson Dragon was very unhappy. He controlled the King Killer Ray and slashed out a sword chi, which collided with the red light behind them. Suddenly, the energy exploded, and a terrifying wave rushed toward them. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Even though they were in the King Killer Ray, they still felt a huge impact. Ignore it. Hurry up and find the subdivine crystal. Lin Xian gritted his teeth and said, the current situation was very bad. Once the King Killer Ray's energy was depleted, they would definitely die here. Therefore, they had to find the subdivine crystal as soon as possible. Just like this, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon gritted their teeth and moved forward while enduring the attacks of the king monster behind them. Finally, they left the periphery and entered the interior. There's something... As soon as they entered, Lin Xian frowned and looked into the distance with a sharp gaze. Chapter 1404. Finally, they left the outer area and entered the inner area. There's something. As soon as they entered, Lin Xian frowned. His gaze was as sharp as a long sword as he looked into the distance. Sure enough, he saw a sparkling bit of light in front of him. Damn, substandard divine crystal. The Crimson Dragon screamed when he saw the item. He did not expect to find the substandard divine crystal so quickly. Kid, go over there. Hurry. Hearing the Crimson Dragon's words, Lin Xian was also very excited. He did not expect his luck to be so good. He had just entered the demon abyss and found a substandard divine crystal. The two of them controlled the king's killing array and carefully walked forward. On the ground, there was a white crystal the size of a walnut. It was sparkling and translucent. The energy contained in it was many times more powerful than the three mysterious crystals Lin Xian had obtained before. The comparison was like comparing a firefly to the sun. They could not be mentioned in the same breath. No wonder the Crimson Dragon had said that once he became a king, he would not be interested in the mysterious crystals from before. Good stuff. Lin Xian reached out and picked up the substandard divine crystal on the ground. He was about to put it into the white bone ring. At this moment, something strange happened. The white bone ring suddenly made a cracking sound, as if it could not withstand the substandard divine crystal. Damn. Lin Xian's expression changed. He quickly took out the substandard divine crystal. Then he showed a pained expression. A crack had appeared on the white bone ring. Although it was small, it would not last for long. Fortunately, he still had other storage rings in his possession. Thus, he hurriedly transferred everything from the white bone ring out. Damn, what a waste of a storage ring. Lin Xian was very pained. He had obtained this white bone ring from an ancient expert. The space inside was very large. It could be said that it was the best storage ring that Lin Xian had. However, he did not expect it to be unable to withstand the substandard divine crystal. Stop shouting. Compared to the substandard divine crystal, this white bone ring is nothing. The Crimson Dragon was very dissatisfied. I can guarantee that if you dare to take out the divine crystals this time, you will immediately be able to exchange them for hundreds of storage rings that are better than the white bone ring. All right, I got it. Lin Xian sighed. But how do we store it? You can't possibly hold it in your hands, right? How about I eat it first? The Crimson Dragon looked at the subdivinity crystal, drooling. Cut the crap. Lin Xian glared at him. Let's talk about this after we get out. Let's see if there are any other subdivinity crystals. Thus, the two of them started searching again. Just at that moment, the king monstrous beast that was fighting against the black dragon hierarch suddenly let out a mournful cry. That cry was filled with endless berserk and fury. At the next moment, the 9 terrifying arms moved away from the sky, no longer fighting with the black dragon sect master. Instead, they quickly sank into the thick fog below. Clearly, the beast king was enraged. In the sky, the black dragon sect's leader also had a gloomy expression. His eyes flickered with cold, killing intent. This is the aura of the subdivinity crystal. It seems that those 2 ants actually found the subdivinity crystal. How lucky! However, the subdivinity crystal will definitely be mine. He snorted coldly, turned into a black lightning, and instantly rushed down. Below, in the depths of the demonic abyss, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were quickly searching. Not knowing whether it was due to good luck or something else, they actually found another subdivinity crystal not long after. This made the Crimson Dragon so excited that it almost jumped up. Thus, it ignored everything else and directly hugged the subdivinity crystal, drooling. It's agreed that each of us will get 1 subdivinity crystal. We'll split it equally. You can't be too greedy. The Crimson Dragon hugged the subdivinity crystal and refused to let go. All right. I'll give it to you. Lin Xian shook his head helplessly. However, at the next moment, his expression changed drastically and even revealed a hint of shock. The smile on the Crimson Dragon's face also disappeared, and it became extremely solemn. Damn it, let's go quickly. The 2 of them did not hesitate and controlled the king killers to increase their speed to the maximum, flying horizontally as if they were flying. Sure enough, at the next moment, the place where they were originally standing suddenly cracked open. A ball of black flames and a red arm appeared, causing the entire void to explode. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon, who had already retreated far away, saw this scene, and their faces darkened. Fortunately, they had run quickly. If they had been a little slower, they would have been killed. Damn, the 2 kings are coming down. Damn it, we've been targeted. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and he was very gloomy. Thinking about it, the Black Dragon Hierarch and the King Monsters must have felt the power of the subdivinity crystal, so they stopped fighting and directly targeted them. What should they do? The 2 kings were simply no match for them. Moreover, if the other party blocked the way back, they could only watch helplessly. At that time, if the energy of the King Killer Array was exhausted, they would really be finished. Sure enough, as Lin Xian expected, the 2 kings were charging toward them. In the fog ahead, a black figure appeared. It was the Black Dragon Hierarch. His tall body was like a primordial demonic mountain. Standing in front of them, he emitted an aura that made everyone tremble incomparably. In another direction, the thick fog rolled rapidly, and a red figure was faintly discernible. Although he couldn't see clearly, those 2 cold eyes were clearly visible. They were emitting a biting, cold, killing intent. Needless to say, this was the king monster. His eyes were like a blade, and it was very terrifying. Accompanied by a low roar, it was like a peerless demon that made people's hearts tremble. These two incomparably terrifying kings, no matter which one it was, could make countless sovereigns kneel down and worship them. However, at this moment, both of them were targeting Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon. Ants, hand over the subdivinity crystal or die. The Black Dragon Hierarch's voice was piercingly cold, emitting an endless amount of killing intent. To be honest, he was incomparably furious. He did not expect that in a moment of carelessness, two ants would take advantage of the loophole and obtain the incomparably precious subdivinity crystal. Fortunately, he had discovered it in time. Otherwise, if he had let these two ants leave, his lungs would have exploded from anger. On the other side, the king monster also let out an angry roar. Clearly, the threat was very obvious. Bah, the two of you still want to snatch the subdivinity crystal from Ben Huang? Dream on. The Crimson Dragon was so angry that it stomped its feet. If Ben Huang's body wasn't in the right condition, he would have slapped the two of you away long ago. There's no room for you to be arrogant. Lin Xian also snorted coldly, and his expression was extremely solemn. No matter what, he would not hand over the subdivinity crystal. Seeing this reaction, the king monster let out an angry roar, and its voice was earth-shattering. However, its huge body was as still as a mountain, and it did not take a step forward. The Black Dragon Hierarch's face also darkened, and his gaze became extremely cold. The other party's attitude made him very angry. Two ants. How dare they behave so atrociously in front of him? They really did not know what death was. However, although he was angry, there was one thing that made him even more shocked. Chapter 1405. The Black Dragon Hierarch's face also darkened, and his gaze became extremely cold. The other party's attitude infuriated him. How dare these two ants behave so atrociously in front of him? They really don't know what death is. However, although he was angry, there was one thing that shocked him even more. He couldn't figure out how these two martial venerables entered this place. One had to know that even he didn't dare to enter the demon abyss easily. What's that? A formation? It's so magical. The Black Dragon religious leader frowned when he saw the king formation around Lin Xian. Based on his intuition, he could naturally sense how terrifying that formation was. Humph, no wonder. I was wondering how these two ants could enter. So they're relying on a formation. It seems that this formation won't last for long. I really want to know if you two ants will still dare to be so arrogant when the formation is gone. I'm afraid that I won't even need to do anything. You won't be able to withstand the king domain here. The Black Dragon Hierarch sneered. F***CKU, you're just a black dragon, and you dare to be so arrogant in front of Ben Huang? It's not like Ben Huang hasn't slapped you away before. The Crimson Dragon was instantly enraged when it was looked down upon. What did you say? The Black Dragon Hierarch's face darkened. He felt that the aura of the two people in front of him was somewhat familiar, but he didn't know where he had seen it before. In fact, this was normal. It had been 5 years, and Lin Xian was no longer the young man from back then. At this moment, he was already majestic and handsome. As for the Crimson Dragon, it had changed from a majestic dragon to a dark red snake. How could the other party recognize it? They probably wouldn't have thought of it. Humph, no matter how stubborn you are, don't think of leaving here alive today. Roar. On the other side, the king demonic beast also let out an angry roar. The Crimson Dragon was unhappy and was about to control the king formation to barge in when Lin Xian pulled it back. Ruzalong, don't be so agitated. I think they won't dare to come in. Otherwise, with their status and strength, they would have attacked us long ago. Lin Xian had already begun to suspect that with the value of the subdivinity crystals and their strength, they wouldn't waste so much time talking to them. For example, the king demonic beast was abnormally furious, but its body was motionless. It didn't dare to move even half an inch. Lin Xian guessed that they wouldn't dare to enter the demon abyss. This was without a doubt. They didn't mean they didn't have to fight the king demonic beast. King demonic beast, demonic beast. Is king demonic beast, dragon Hieron demonic beast beast. Demonic. When the killing array around you is gone, I'll let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. The black dragon religious leader's voice was cold. Of course, demonic Lin, of the TT, of the of course to him, of TT, of course. If you don't want to take it, you can just wait here. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Then, he and the dark red godly mountain dragon controlled the king's killing formation and walked deeper into the forest. Brat, you're courting death. Seeing the other party leave, the black dragon religious leader's face became terrifyingly gloomy. He was unable to figure out why two ants at the Exalt realm were actually able to enter the Devil Abyss and not be affected. It had to be known that not only was there a king's domain in the Demon Abyss, but there was also a special energy that prevented kings from entering. Otherwise, he would have gone in long ago. Why would he waste his breath on the other party? Not only him, but the other demonic beast kings were also unable to enter. However, the two of them were able to. This made him extremely puzzled. So what if you can get in? In the end, you'll just be making a wedding dress for me. The black dragon religious leader coldly snorted, and a terrifying light appeared in his eyes. It was a good opportunity for him to go in and search for the subdivinity crystals. When he came out, he would take him down in one fell swoop. In this way, the two of them would not be able to escape. Thinking of this, the sneer on his face deepened. On the other side, the gigantic demonic beast kings had the same idea. Its mountain-like body directly lay on the ground, and its two fiery red eyes slowly closed. It was actually taking a nap there. However, although it looked like it was sleeping, every movement around it did not escape its soul power's perception. As long as Lin Xian and the black dragon religious leader returned, it would definitely launch its fiercest attack. Brat, how do we get out? When the two of them were far away, the Crimson Dragon religious leader asked. Although obtaining the subdivinity crystals was a good thing, their escape route was still sealed. They could not leave at all. Moreover, the worst thing was that the king's killing array around them did not have much energy left. It would not be able to hold on for long. When the time came, there would be no need for the two kings to do anything. The king's domain here would kill them. There's no other way. We can only try our best to find the piercing divinity crystals. Ruzalong, how many subdivinity crystals do you need to become a king? Lin Xian asked. You want me to break through? Hearing this, Ruzalong raised his eyebrows. Brat, let me remind you, don't have too much hope. Although the subdivinity realm is incomparably miraculous, the energy of the dragon essence I lost is far beyond your imagination. Moreover, stepping into the king realm requires an extremely large amount of energy. If there are too few subdivinity crystals, it won't be able to support me to the king realm at all. The Crimson Dragon religious leader was right. Even kings were divided into different levels. He was not like the Black Dragon religious leader and the demonic beast kings. Those two had just entered the king realm. Although they were stronger than venerable realm experts, they were much weaker than those ancient kings. Ruzalong was one of those powerful kings. Therefore, the dragon essence he lost was extremely abundant. These few subdivinity crystals were really not enough for him. The two of them discussed as they walked quickly in search of other subdivinity crystals. However, the Crimson Dragon religious leader's eyes widened, as if he had seen a ghost. No way. How could there be so many subdivinity crystals in this devil's pit? In a short while, they found another 3. coupled with the 2 from before, there were already 5. Even the Crimson Dragon religious leader was greatly surprised by this amount, because it seemed to be too easy to obtain. All right, we have a total of 5 now. Lin Xian reached into his bosom and wanted to take out the subdivinity crystal from before. However, he was stunned in the next moment, because he grabbed empty air. There was nothing in his bosom. The subdivinity crystal from before had actually disappeared. What? It disappeared? How is this possible? Lin Xian frowned, and his little face darkened. He realized that since entering this mysterious devil's pit, everything had exceeded his expectations. He originally thought that it would take a lot of effort to find the subdivinity crystal. However, he never expected that such a precious item would be casually thrown around like trash in this devil's pit. They had easily found 5 of them. However, just when he wanted to take out the subdivinity crystal from before, he realized that it had disappeared. Chapter 1406. Lin Xian reached into his bosom and wanted to take out the subdivine crystal. However, he was stunned the next moment. That was because he had grabbed empty air. There was nothing in his bosom. That subdivine crystal had actually disappeared. What? It disappeared? How is this possible? Lin Xian frowned, and his face darkened. He realized that ever since he entered the mysterious demon abyss, everything was out of his expectations. He thought that he would have to spend a lot of effort to find the subdivine crystal. However, he did not expect that such a precious item would be thrown around casually like trash in the demon abyss. They found 5 of them easily. Just as he was about to take out the subdivine crystal, he realized that it was gone. Gone? How could it be gone? The Crimson Dragon jumped up. However, when he realized that the subdivine crystal was still on him, he heaved a sigh of relief. Boy, did you lose it on the way here? The Crimson Dragon said. Are you kidding? With our soul power, how could we not know if something dropped? Lin Xian's face darkened. Indeed, let alone a subdivine crystal. Even if a strand of hair was lost with his soul power, he would be able to sense it. However, he did not sense it at all. How could the subdivine crystal disappear? F***CK. What the hell? How could it be in broad daylight? The Crimson Dragon was frightened. He looked around cautiously and whispered, Don't tell me. When I entered the demon abyss, I felt a gloomy feeling. Could it really be haunted? What kind of ghost is more powerful than us? It should be at least at the challenger level. Lin Xian shook his head and did not believe it. Don't talk nonsense. If a challenger-level ghost really appears, we will be in trouble. The Crimson Dragon quickly interrupted. Hearing this, Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, How about this? You take 2 of the 3 subdivine crystals and give me 1 of them. Let me try again and see if it will disappear. All right. The Crimson Dragon took 2, while Lin Xian placed the last one in the same position as before. Then they continued their journey. This time, Lin Xian was fully alert as he carefully observed the subdivine crystal in his bosom. The Crimson Dragon scanned the surroundings, searching quickly. Not long after, Lin Xian stopped in his tracks, his eyes filled with disbelief. The Crimson Dragon turned around abruptly. No way! Don't tell me he disappeared again. The corner of Lin Xian's mouth twitched slightly. He carefully inspected the area and found that it was really gone. F***CK. It's really haunted. The Crimson Dragon looked around vigilantly, as if it was ready to attack at any moment. On the other hand, Lin Xian's expression was gloomy. Impossible. Even if it's the soul of a king, it's impossible for it to approach us. You should know that we are surrounded by the king's killing formation as well. It's impossible for him to approach us without making a sound. D****. What's going on? How could the subdivine crystal disappear? The 2 of them searched for a long time, but found nothing. In the process, they found 2 more subdivine crystals. This time, Lin Xian took one and was ready to test it again. Kid, don't mess around. This is a treasure. You wasted it in the blink of an eye. The Crimson Dragon was very pained. This time, Lin Xian held it in his hand directly. After walking for a while, he found that there was no change at all. It seemed that he was paying attention to it. The subdivine crystal would not disappear. Therefore, he put it in his bosom again. This time, he did not walk. Instead, he sat cross-legged on the ground and activated the king's killing formation around him. He believed that even if there was a ghost of a king, it would not be able to escape from the king's killing formation. The Crimson Dragon was also waiting anxiously because it was also very suspicious. What had happened? It should be noted that the subdivine crystal had only disappeared in Lin Xian's hand, while the ones on its side were still intact. After about half an hour, Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze was like a sharp sword that cut across the void. "Who is it? Get the hell out here!" He swept his gaze around and shouted coldly. However, it was quiet all around. There was not a single ghost. There was only a dense fog drifting around like demons and ghosts. "Kid, don't be like this. I'm scared." The Crimson Dragon felt uncomfortable all over. It felt as if a pair of eyes were staring at it in the dark. Although it used to be a king, the current situation was too strange. Someone could evade the king's killing formation and attack them. That was not a good thing. F***CK. Lin Xian's small face was cold. He had never encountered such a strange thing. Therefore, he slammed his palm to one side. Boom. Suddenly, the clouds nearby trembled, and even a small hole was torn open. Lin Xian did not care, but the Crimson Dragon was stunned. Its expression was as if it had really seen a ghost. "Kid, you... The Crimson Dragon stammered and could not speak. Lin Xian felt a chill run down his spine. He quickly said, "What's wrong? What did you find? Is there really someone attacking us in the middle?" "No, it's your power. Can't you feel it? Your power has increased." The Crimson Dragon finally said the reason. It was too surprised because Lin Xian's palm had actually broken through the fog. Lin Xian's face was also filled with shock as he recalled the incident. When he had just entered, he had no way to deal with the surrounding fog. Previously, he had just casually waved his palm to vent the anger in his heart. He did not expect that it would actually break through a trace of the fog. The change in power was very obvious. However, he had not sensed it before. To be exact, he had not thought about it before. The Crimson Dragon shouted, "Kid, don't tell me you absorbed the divine crystal that time. Don't joke around." Lin Xian was also very nervous. He clearly remembered that if he had absorbed the divine crystal before becoming a king, he would not be able to condense a king's domain for the rest of his life. At the thought of this, he immediately checked his cultivation power. When he saw that his cultivation had not increased, he immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, things were not as bad as he had imagined. However, when he felt the power again, his face immediately darkened. Strengthened? His power had really increased, and it was obviously strengthened. What's going on? Did I really absorb the divine crystal? But it shouldn't be. Lin Xian was very puzzled and could not understand. One had to know that he had carefully preserved the divine crystal and had no intention of absorbing it at all. Therefore, his art of longevity could not be activated. Now that the divine crystal was gone, his power had increased. Obviously, the power of the divine crystal had transformed into the power in his body. But how did it happen? He did not understand. Chapter 1407. Both of them had ugly expressions on their faces because they hadn't noticed how the subdivine crystal had been absorbed. Moreover, Lin Xian wasn't sure if he had absorbed it or not. What was going on? Would he be able to condense a king's domain in the future? He was completely baffled by all of this. However, a deep dragon roar suddenly came from within his body. There seemed to be a trace of excitement in the roar. Hearing this, Lin Xian's eyelids twitched, as if he had thought of a possibility. Roussillon, do you think it could be the great dragon sword soul? After being reminded by Lin Xian, the crimson dragon slapped its head and quickly said, "No, it's the great dragon sword soul." How could I have forgotten about it? Indeed, the great dragon sword soul situation was special. It was a bit like the crimson dragon. It had lost its power, but with external power, it could quickly recover. Lin Xian had known this before. However, he hadn't expected that the subdivine crystal would have an effect on the great dragon sword soul, and it seemed that the effect was not small. After understanding the situation, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. He was very excited now. If he could restore the great dragon sword soul to the king realm, then he would have unparalleled power. At that time, even if he faced a king, he wouldn't be afraid. Let's try again. Lin Xian took out 2 more subdivine crystals for the great dragon sword soul to absorb. Sure enough, this time, all the power of the subdivine crystals flowed into the great dragon sword soul. Just these few subdivine crystals allowed the great dragon sword soul to reach the middle of the 9th level. Not enough, still not enough. Lin Xian clenched his fists. He realized that if he wanted the great dragon sword soul to complete a breakthrough in quality, these subdivine crystals were not enough. He needed more subdivine crystals. This time, the crimson dragon gritted its teeth and quickly activated the king's killing array. The 2 of them flew deeper into the devil abyss. Along the way, the 2 of them picked up 7 or 8 more subdivine crystals. They left some for the crimson dragon and let the great dragon sword soul absorb the rest. Moreover, they discovered that the deeper they went into the devil abyss, the more subdivine crystals there were. Then, the 2 of them ran inside with all their might. The fog inside was getting thicker and thicker, like a layer of clouds blocking all senses. Lin Xian and Yi Shiwen had the king's killing array. The king's killing array was like a sharp knife, directly cutting through the thick fog. Boom! They cut through the thick fog in front of them, just as they were about to continue forward. It was as if they had bumped into a huge mountain, causing a deep sound to ring out. That terrifying power directly pushed the 2 of them back. What's going on? Lin Xian was shocked. He carefully looked ahead. Could it be that there was no way out? Damn it, what's that? So hard. Even the king's killing array was repelled. The crimson dragon was even more shocked. He was very confident in his king's killing array. Along the way, he had indeed played a huge role. However, he did not expect that he would be bounced back at this time. He couldn't help but be surprised. The 2 of them looked at each other, then carefully walked forward. After passing through layers of thick fog, the 2 of them finally found a huge black shadow in front of them. Standing in front of them was a white wall. Could it be that this is really the end? Lin Xian frowned. The crimson dragon also walked along the white wall. He found that after walking for a long distance, he could not see the end. It was as if there was really an endless wall blocking the way. It's not a wall. It's not a wall. However, the crimson dragon also made a new discovery because he found that it was not a wall, but something else. It's not a wall. Then what is it? Lin Xian was surprised. The crimson dragon pointed ahead and said, "Look, doesn't it look like a door?" A door? Lin Xian looked carefully. Then he found that there was indeed a door on the white wall. However, the door was tightly closed and there was thick fog around it. So at first glance, it was impossible to see it. You don't say, "This is a house?" Lin Xian opened his mouth wide. He found that there were really strange things happening in the Devil's Pit. The crimson dragon retreated and used some secret technique. Its dragon eyes emitted a purple light. Then he shouted in a low voice and looked ahead carefully. Soon he was shocked. "This is not a house. We seem to have found something good. It looks like a spiritual boat." Spiritual boat. Lin Xian was also surprised. He did not expect that there would be a spiritual boat in the Devil's Pit. "Are you sure? It should be. It looks like a spiritual boat, but why is it here?" "Kid, if this is an ancient spiritual boat, then it's full of treasures." The Crimson Dragon was very excited. This was because he found that the number of subdivine crystals near the spiritual boat was the highest. Therefore, he guessed that there was definitely a huge treasure trove inside. Lin Xian was also excited. Originally, the two of them thought that there was no other way because the king's killing array could not last for long. However, they did not expect to find the spiritual boat. If they could get in and leave with the spiritual boat, the two kings would never expect it. Then they would be able to leave the Devil's Pit safely. Then what are we waiting for? Hurry up and get in. Lin Xian directly activated the king's killing array and exploded with a terrifying aura. It quickly blasted toward the white door. Boom! A low sound was heard. Then a huge force came from the door and quickly blasted the king's killing array. Instantly, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were pushed back. "No way! It's so strong!" Lin Xian's eyes widened in disbelief. The Crimson Dragon also took a deep breath. What the F***ck is this? Even the king's killing array could not be broken? One had to know that the king's killing array could fight against a king. In other words, even a king could not open this door. Thinking of this possibility, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were stunned. What kind of material could have such a strong hardness? "We're rich. We're definitely rich. Just by looking at the quality. It's definitely an Earth-class treasure." The Crimson Dragon was very excited. Indeed, if it was an ordinary material, it would definitely be destroyed. Lin Xian bitterly smiled. "What the F***ck? We can only watch. We can't go in at all." He sighed, but did not give up. Instead, he quickly operated his soul power and slowly penetrated the door through the small crack. Lin Xian wanted to explore what was inside. If there was any mechanism, he could use his soul power to open it. However, Lin Xian found that with his soul power, he could not completely enter, which made him even more shocked. "Ruzalong, hurry up and help me." Lin Xian did not want to give up, so he called Ruzalong to help him. The Crimson Dragon's soul power also reached out. The two soul powers combined to form a powerful force and quickly penetrated inside. In the next moment, the two were stunned. Chapter 1408. Lin Xian was even more shocked when he realized that his soul power was unable to enter completely. "Ruzalong, hurry up and help me." Lin Xian did not want to give up, so he called out to Ruzalong to help him. The Crimson Dragon's soul power also reached out. The two soul powers combined to form a powerful force that quickly penetrated deep into the ship. In the next moment, the two of them were stunned. They were extremely shocked. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon worked together and quickly sensed the situation inside. They had to admit that this spiritual boat was even more terrifying than they had imagined. Even when the two of them worked together, they could only sense about 10 meters into the ship. Even so, they were still stunned. Shocking. Too shocking. Absolutely shocking. Because in the passage about 10 meters in front of them, there was a floor full of subdivinity crystals. There were more than 50 subdivinity crystals, which was far more than what Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon had obtained. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon had worked so hard and only obtained a dozen subdivinity crystals. But now, there were more than 50 subdivinity crystals in the passage behind the door. This huge gap greatly stimulated them. Damn, This is intolerable. Ben Huang must go in. The Crimson Dragon was so excited that he jumped up and down. It could not be helped. He was stimulated. Lin Xian's eyes were also burning. He was so excited that he trembled. He wanted to take away all the subdivinity crystals on the floor. Now, he could completely absorb the subdivinity crystals. Moreover, the more he absorbed, the more his dragon sword soul would recover, and his strength would become stronger. One day, he would be able to make his dragon sword soul reach the king realm. Then he would not be afraid of the Black Dragon sect leader and the king demonic beasts outside. But now, the only problem was that the two of them could only watch. They could not take it out. Even if they could use their soul power to wrap around the subdivinity crystals, they could not take them out. I can't accept this. The Crimson Dragon kept searching with its claws, trying to figure out what was behind the door. Later on, Lin Xian also took action personally. He really didn't want to give up this opportunity, but when his hand touched the white door, the entire spirit boat started to shake violently. Boom, 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 boom. In front of them, the white door that could withstand the king-killing formation slowly opened, revealing a pitch-black passage. What's the situation? The Crimson Dragon King's eyes widened in shock. Lin Xian was also shocked. Brat, what did you do? Why is the door open? The Crimson Dragon looked at Lin Xian curiously, because he knew that the door only opened after Lin Xian made his move. Could it be that he encountered some kind of trap? That's why the door opened. Lin Xian was also very puzzled because he didn't do anything special. He just touched the white door like the Crimson Dragon. Maybe the Crimson Dragon also couldn't understand, but he didn't want to think too much about it. His body turned into a red light, and he went in with a whoosh. The most important thing now was to take all the subdivinity crystals inside. Lin Xian was also very excited as he strode in. There were a total of 53 subdivinity crystals on the ground. Among them, the Crimson Dragon took 25, and Lin Xian took 28. Because the subdivinity crystals couldn't be placed in the storage ring, the Crimson Dragon used its dragon scales to create a bag on its back and used it to wrap more than 20 subdivinity crystals. Lin Xian also used the starry battle armor to create a bag on his back and put away all 28 subdivinity crystals. Excited, this was really too exciting. They had worked so hard and only found a dozen subdivinity crystals. As for the Black Dragon religious leader and the king demonic beasts outside, they had at most one or two. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so anxious. However, they had more than 50 subdivinity crystals. This was definitely an astronomical number. Boom. At this moment, the white door at the back suddenly closed, and the entire passageway was sealed. The Crimson Dragon waved its palm and attacked. After trying for a long time, it realized that it couldn't open the door again. However, this time, it wasn't anxious. Instead, it said excitedly, just this passageway alone had more than 50 subdivinity crystals. He really didn't know what good things were in this spiritual boat. Kid, why don't we go in and take a look? Okay. Lin Xian nodded. To be honest, he was also very excited. This spiritual boat was really amazing. First, it could withstand the king-killing array. Then, they found so many subdivinity crystals. It could be said that it was very mysterious. He also wanted to know what was in this spiritual boat, although he couldn't see clearly from outside. How big was this spiritual boat? Just from inside, Lin Xian could sense that this spiritual boat was definitely huge. It was at least twice as big as the one in his hand. In front of them was a straight passageway that was 50 meters long. About 50 meters away, there was a right-angle corner. This passageway was also made of white metal. Lin Xian tried it and found that the king-killing array couldn't break it at all. It couldn't even leave a scratch on it. This made the two of them extremely shocked. The king-killing array was extremely powerful. It could kill a supremacy realm warrior as easily as cutting vegetables. Even if it encountered a king, it could still contend with him. However, such a powerful killing array was actually unable to leave even a scratch on the metal wall. It had to be said that this was too miraculous. Treasure. This was definitely a treasure. It was at least an Earth-ranked treasure. The Crimson Dragon was so excited that it was drooling. Let's go and take a look. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. A passageway was so precious. There must be treasures in this spiritual boat. However, when they reached the end of the east passageway, before they could enter the right-angle passageway, the two of them were stunned again. This was because there was a palm print on the white wall in front of them. A palm print was imprinted on the wall. It was so clear that the wall caved in slightly. Previously, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were too excited and didn't notice it at all. Now that they were so close, they naturally noticed the palm print. No way! Who is it? To be able to leave a palm print on this white metal. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. One had to know that this was a metal that even the king-killing array couldn't leave a mark on. The Crimson Dragon also took a deep breath because he realized that even if he was in his peak state, he wouldn't be able to leave a mark on this white metal. However, someone had actually done it. One had to admit that the other party's strength was too terrifying. Even if it was a king, it was probably one of the top ones. Moreover, what was even more shocking was that this palm print was 3 times larger than an ordinary person's palm. Ordinary humans didn't seem to have such a large palm. The two of them entered the right-angle passageway with great curiosity. However, they were soon shocked again, and even cried out in surprise. Chapter 1409. To be honest, they were truly stunned this time. They were even more shocked than before. That was because they had discovered a corpse, a perfectly intact corpse. The corpse was extremely tall, even taller than the Black Dragon leader outside. It was at least 5 or 6 meters tall. Logically speaking, it was impossible for an ordinary human to have such a physique. Only the Yao clan would have such a physique. However, the corpse in front of them had the face of a human. It did not have any characteristics of a Yao clan. It was a middle-aged man. He was tall and had bronze skin. He wore ancient clothes and did not wear any armor. However, judging from the condition of his muscles, he was definitely stronger than Lin Xian's cosmic armor. There were no injuries on his body, but his eyes were wide open. There was even infinite anger and fear in his eyes. Lin Xian took a closer look at the man's palm and realized that the man's palm matched the palm print on the white wall very well. The dark red divine dragon also noticed this. Then the two men's heads exploded. If they guessed correctly, the palm print on the white wall was left by the middle-aged man in front of them. To be able to leave a palm print on such a wall, there was no doubt that the middle-aged man was a king. Moreover, he was an extremely terrifying king. However, such a terrifying king had died. Moreover, he had an extremely frightened expression before he died, as if he had encountered something terrifying. Thinking of this, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon felt their scalps go numb. Rizalong, do you know what's going on? Lin Xian took a deep breath and asked in a deep voice. I don't know. The Crimson Dragon shook his head. To be honest, this middle-aged man's cultivation and strength far surpass mine. Moreover, I'm very surprised. I didn't expect a place like the Tianan region to have such a secret. The Crimson Dragon was very shocked. He did not expect to encounter such a thing. Lin Xian's expression turned serious. He knew that the Crimson Dragon had always been arrogant and did not put anyone in his eyes. However, this time he had actually said such a thing. One could imagine that this middle-aged man had definitely been an incredible person when he was alive. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were shocked and curious. They carefully controlled the king formation and circled around the corpse. Truth be told, the middle-aged man had quite a few treasures on him as well. However, The two of them did not dare to take them. Although the middle-aged man was dead, the remnant pressure of his body was too terrifying. They didn't dare to have any ideas. What a terrifying king! Lin Xian was shocked. It wasn't as if he had never seen a king before, similar to the fragmented soul of Miwa of Gojoseon, the corpses of the emperors in the remote sky secret realm, and the fragmented soul of Daoist Song Song. None of them had such a strong impact. This was because the kings from before were either broken souls or piles of bones. None of them were as intact and lifelike as they were now. In fact, the oppressive might on his body did not dissipate by much. Lin Xian knew that this was a true expert. He had reached the realm where his body would not rot. However, such a powerhouse was actually killed, and there was no trace of injury at all. Just what kind of person could have such strength? To kill such a king? What was the realm above the king? What kind of skills did such a person have? Lin Xian was very curious. He asked the Crimson Dragon, but the Crimson Dragon only shook his head and sighed. The two of them walked forward again. Before long, another round arched door appeared in front of them. This time, it was still Lin Xian who placed his hand on it. The door opened automatically. Lin Xian was already numb to such a strange situation. However, when he opened the door, he was shocked. All the hair on his body stood on end. Fortunately, the great dragon sword soul in his body surged out in time to suppress this fear. Beside him, the Crimson Dragon also screamed and retreated 10 feet. They had no choice. They were frightened by the scene in front of them. That was because they saw a pair of eyes. As soon as they opened the door, they were greeted by a pair of eyes. They were cold and emotionless, like the eyes of a demon god, looking down on the world. The eyes did not move. They must have lost their vitality. However, judging from the energy and oppressive might it contained, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon could not breathe at all. One look at it, and they would be lost in it. Lin Xian took a deep breath and activated the great dragon sword soul again. Suddenly, a loud sound came from his body. A cold feeling surged out, waking Lin Xian up. Lin Xian gritted his teeth and quickly looked away from the eyes. Then he heaved a sigh of relief. Terrifying, too terrifying. That pair of eyes was more terrifying than any king that he had ever seen. It was as if everyone was an ant in front of that pair of eyes. They could only crawl on the ground. The Crimson Dragon also took a deep breath. Then it carefully came to Lin Xian's side. The two of them controlled their emotions and did not look at that pair of eyes. Then they discovered that there was a huge corpse standing behind the arched gate. The corpse was not much different from a normal person. It was also wearing ancient clothes. Although it had lost its vitality, its flesh and blood were still intact. If one did not know better, they would have thought that it was a living person. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon took a closer look and found that there were no wounds on the corpse. Just like the previous one, it had died mysteriously. Two top king-level kings were extremely terrifying. How could they die in such a strange way? It was very suspicious. What kind of power was it? How could it cause such a terrifying result? Carefully bypassing the corpse at the door, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon came to the hall. Then the two of them screamed again. That was because there were other corpses in the hall. Previously, they were blocked by the one at the door, so they did not see it. Now that they were inside, the situation inside was clear. There were a total of 3 corpses, all of them perfectly preserved. One of them was lying on the ground, while the other 2 were still in a state of battle. The 2 of them were standing in the center of the hall. One of them was a middle-aged man. He had a stalwart figure and a cold face. However, his chest was caved in. 2 blood-red arms had pierced through his body and came out from his back. The owner of the arms was a person wearing a blood-red robe. It was an old man with a cold face. Even though he was dead, he still emitted a terrifying murderous aura. However, there was a long sword in between his eyebrows that had directly pierced through his entire head. Obviously, the two of them had perished together. Although the two of them had been killed, they could still feel the tragedy of the battle. There was even a terrifying aura left in the void. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon looked at each other and felt their scalps go numb. Their hearts were beating wildly. These people were too terrifying. Not to mention Lin Xian, even the Crimson Dragon at his peak would not be able to stop them. Damn it, who are these people? Why are they here? Chapter 14:10. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon looked at each other and felt their scalps go numb and their hearts beat wildly. These people were too terrifying. Not to mention Lin Xian. Even if the Crimson Dragon was at his peak, he would not be able to stop them. Damn it, who are these people? Why are they here? The Crimson Dragon was too shocked. It had to be known that even in the Sky Martial Continent, there were no such talented experts. But now, in this remote Tiannan region, there were actually so many mysterious experts. Come to think of it, in the distant ancient times, the Tiannan region must have some unknown secrets. Sigh. Suddenly, a deep sigh was heard, echoing in the spacious hall. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon jumped up. Damn it! Ben Huang was scared to death. Who is it? Hurry up and come out. The Crimson Dragon and Lin Xian looked around and felt their hair stand on end. One must know that there were several peerless experts' corpses here. If there was a voice, could it be a corpse that came back to life? If a peerless expert really came back to life, then the two of them were completely finished. Lin Xian was also very nervous. His eyes were like lightning as he looked around and said coldly, Who is it? Don't be sneaky there. Hurry up and come out. Lin Xian, I've been waiting for you for a long time. I didn't expect you to come so late. A leisurely voice sounded again. Damn it! Hearing this voice, Lin Xian was completely frightened. He did not expect that the other party would know his name. Brat, I'm looking for you. It has nothing to do with me. The Crimson Dragon retreated to the side, bewildered. Who are you? How do you know my name? Hurry up and come out, or don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Xian shouted coldly. At the same time, he activated the great dragon sword soul in his body to eliminate the fear in his heart. Whether the other party was a human or a ghost, he would not yield. Good, 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 as expected of the successor of the Way of the Sword. Such courage is truly rare. Hearing this, Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Listening to the other party's words, it seemed that the other party knew that he possessed the great dragon sword soul. But how was that possible? Only he, the Crimson Dragon, and Lord Alcohol knew about this. No one else knew. However, the voice in front of him seemed to know as well. This made Lin Xian extremely shocked. Even the Crimson Dragon jumped in fright. Don't worry, I don't have any bad intentions. That voice sounded again, and then a broken sword appeared in the void. It was a broken sword. It looked very simple and unadorned. It was only a third of its normal length. Furthermore, the remaining half of the sword was covered in cracks. At that moment, the voice came from the broken sword. You're a sword spirit? Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. This was not the first time he had encountered something like this. The 10,000 Beast Ding from before also had an artifact spirit. As long as it was not some demon or ghost, everything was fine. I'm not a sword spirit. To be precise, I'm the artifact spirit of this spirit boat. I'm just possessing this broken sword. The voice sounded. This spirit boat is called the Black Earth. You can call me Black Earth. Black Earth? What a lousy name. The Crimson Dragon came to his senses and muttered softly. However, Lin Xian couldn't wait to ask, Who are you? Who are the corpses here? Also, how do you know my name? How much do you know about the great dragon sword souls? Indeed, Lin Xian had too many questions, so he had to figure them out. I've said it before. My name is Black Earth. This is the Black Earth. I've been waiting for you for 10,000 years. What? You've been waiting for me for 10,000 years? Lin Xian's eyes widened in disbelief. What nonsense! I'm only 20 years old. How can you wait for me for 10,000 years? Could it be that you knew I was going to be born 10,000 years ago? Lin Xian's face was full of disbelief. 10,000 years was too shocking. One had to know that even a king could only last for 2,000 to 3,000 years. Who knew if the Tianan region existed 10,000 years ago? You're wrong. I wasn't waiting for you. I was waiting for the successor of the great dragon sword. After 10,000 years, I've finally waited for the successor of the great dragon sword. Lin Xian, you're the one I've been waiting for. The successor of the great dragon sword. Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. If that was the case, then it was possible. The great dragon sword had existed since ancient times, and he wasn't the first to obtain it. How do you know I have the great dragon sword soul? It's normal. I can feel the aura of the great dragon sword soul on you, because my master was also the successor of the great dragon sword. Your master too. Lin Xian was even more shocked. He didn't expect to hear this news. Who's your master? Is he still here? What's the situation with the corpses around here? Lin Xian continued to ask. That's my master. The broken sword in the air suddenly emitted a weak light and swept towards the majestic man in the middle. What? He's your master? And he was once the successor of the dragon sword. How did he get killed? What's going on? Lin Xian was also astonished. On the side, the Crimson Dragon also asked that Hey too, what realm are they at? To be honest, the Crimson Dragon was also very shocked. Just the aura emitted by these corpses made his hair stand on end. So he wanted to know what realm these people had reached. Could it be the legendary realm? My master is called Yi Gu Cheng, the 4th generation successor of the dragon sword. The 4th generation successor of the dragon sword. Lin Xian was shocked. He had never heard of this news. However, he quickly frowned and said, That's not right. Hasn't the great dragon sword soul existed since ancient times? Why is it only the 4th generation? Hearing this, the Crimson Dragon's eyes flickered, while the broken sword Hey Tu said in a deep voice, That's right. The great dragon sword soul has existed since ancient times, but no one knows how many people have it. However, ever since the great Emperor Shiman appeared, swept through the 8 desolations and ruled thousands of races, he became the first successor of the dragon sword. After that, there was the 2nd generation, the 3rd generation, and the 4th generation. Great Emperor Shiman? Who's that? Lin Xian was puzzled because from the other party's words, he could tell that this was definitely an incredible person. Great Emperor Shiman. He's definitely a peerless figure who suppressed the ancient times. He's an existence that countless people look up to. The Crimson Dragon also sighed, and his eyes were filled with deep respect. Obviously, he knew about this great Emperor Shiman. Great Emperor Shiman shocked the ancient times, and his life was filled with countless glory. I'm afraid that it would be difficult for his descendants to reach his height. Hey Tu said, Now you understand. In other words, I'm the 5th generation? Lin Xian's face was solemn. Perhaps, but I'm not too sure. After all, 10,000 years have passed. You might be the 5th generation, or the 6th generation, but no matter which generation you are, you're still the successor of the great dragon sword. Then, how did your master die? Why did you wait for me? Lin Xian was puzzled. Chapter 1411. In other words, I'm the 5th generation? Lin Xian's expression was solemn. Perhaps, but I'm not too sure. After all, 10,000 years have passed. You might be the 5th generation or the 6th generation, but no matter which generation you are, you're still the successor of the great dragon sword. Then how did your master die? Why did you wait for me? Lin Xian was puzzled. Although he and Yi Guqing both had the great dragon sword soul, they didn't know each other. So why did He Tu wait for him for 10,000 years? My master, Yi Guqing, was very powerful and brilliant. He could be said to be the most dazzling genius of that era. Genius? Isn't that used to describe the younger generation? Lin Xian looked at Yi Guqing in puzzlement. Yi Guqing looked like a middle-aged man. What do you know? Great emperors can live for 20,000 years, but my master is only 40 years old. He can be said to be very young. He Tu's voice was excited. Did you know that my master became an invincible king when he was 40 years old? He could be said to be the most dazzling person of that era. If he was allowed to grow, he could definitely become another great emperor in the future. What? An invincible king at 40 years old? This time, it was the Crimson Dragon's turn to cry out. To be honest, it was too shocked because it had never seen such a young, invincible king. What does invincible king mean? Can you tell me more about it? Lin Xian was puzzled. Although he could guess the meaning behind this, he still didn't know the specifics. Looks like your place is too backward. You don't even know about the martial Tao. He Tu said slowly. All right, kid, let me give you some knowledge. Let's talk about cultivation first. The martial Tao is divided into 9 major realms, starting from the Meridians Condensing Realm, Spirit Sea Realm, Harmonious Spirit Realm, Spirit Transformation Realm, and Spirit Detecting Realm. Above that is the Monarch Realm, King Realm, Saint Realm, and Great Emperor Realm. You're now in the Monarch Realm. I don't need to explain the previous realms. I'm sure you know. After the Monarch Realm is the King Realm. The King Realm is divided into 9 minor realms. Every time one advances, one's strength would undergo a tremendous change. It isn't just that, the domain would grow stronger and stronger as well. It can be said that every single advancement in the King Realm is more difficult than all the previous realms. Invincible King Realm cultivators are invincible in the King Realm. My master, Yi Guqing, is an invincible king. Upon hearing this, Lin Xian was extremely shocked. He already knew that above the Venerable One was the King Realm, but he did not expect there to be another realm above the King Realm. That was the Sage Realm, the Great Emperor, and the Great Emperor Shiman, mentioned by He Tu before, should be the pinnacle of martial arts. No wonder the Crimson Dragon showed that kind of reverence before. Great Emperor. Lin Xian clenched his fists. He felt as if a new door had opened in front of him. The 9 realms gave Lin Xian a new understanding of martial arts cultivation. At this moment, the Crimson Dragon continued. Kid, the King Realm is even more terrifying than you think. For example, the Black Dragon sect leader and the king monster outside are only 1-star kings. I'm afraid that even the kings of the Martial Sky continent are, at most, 2-star kings. It would be very difficult for them to advance any further. Those old fellows, the most conservative of them, are more than 1,000 years old, and some are even more than 2,000 years old. However, in this lifetime, they will probably stay at the 1-star or 2-star king realm. It's impossible for them to advance any further, and invincible kings are existences that even 9-star kings cannot contend against. You can imagine how terrifying such people are. Hearing this, Lin Xian was extremely shocked. He knew that the Crimson Dragon was right. The further one went on the path of martial arts, the more difficult it was to cultivate. He had felt this when he was in the Venerable Realm, not to mention the more profound King Realm. However, He did not expect that the middle-aged man in front of him was actually an invincible king. To be able to be called invincible, one could imagine how terrifying his strength was. However, this made Lin Xian even more puzzled. Since he's already an invincible king, how could he be killed because the enemy is even stronger? He Tu sighed. Although my master is an invincible existence in the king realm, he is not invincible in the entire path of martial arts. Above the king realm is the saint realm and the legendary great emperor. The enemy's strength is even more terrifying. Unfortunately, my master is too young. If he was given time with his aptitude, he would definitely be able to become a great emperor. Great emperor. When Lin Xian heard this title again, he asked doubtfully, "What kind of existence is that?" The great emperor is the last realm of the 9 realms. Anyone who becomes a great emperor is an existence that has shocked the ages. Their combat strength is something that you can't imagine. Let me put it this way. The Tianan region that you are in can be completely destroyed with a slap from the great emperor. What? Destroy the entire Tianan region with a slap? Lin Xian was shocked as his eyelids twitched. At this moment, the Crimson Dragon continued. Not just the Tianan region. Even the Tianwu continent can be completely destroyed with a slap from the great emperor, making it disappear from this world. So powerful. Lin Xian was dumbstruck. One had to know that the Tianwu continent was extremely big. Even if the kings fought, they could only destroy some mountains and rivers. The stronger ones could destroy countries. However, he had never heard of a king who could destroy an entire continent with a slap. But now, the legendary great emperor was actually able to do it so easily. It had to be said that it was too shocking. The great emperor's strength is incomparably terrifying. His strength is beyond your imagination. When your cultivation deepens in the future, you will understand the reason behind it. He Tu continued. Also, don't think that the Tianan region and the Tianwu continent are that big. On the true map of the world, they are just some islands. What? The Tianan region and the Tianwu continent are islands? Lin Xian was stunned. He felt that his brain was not enough to comprehend it. Although he knew that there was an even bigger world outside the Tianwu continent, he did not expect that the gap between them would be so big. He knew what an island meant. It is indeed an island. It's just that the people here have never been to places that are further away. So everyone thinks that the Tianwu continent is a continent. However, to the people of the real continent, this place is just an island. Our world is called the true spirit world. In this world, there are a total of 5 large continents. They are the Eastern Wasteland, Western Desert, Southern Ridge, Northern Plains, and Central Region. Between these continents, some are adjacent, some are separated by the sea. The Tianan region and the Tianwu continent that you speak of are just 2 small islands near the Eastern Wasteland. That's all. Chapter 14:12. Our world is called the true spirit world, and there are a total of 5 large continents in this world. They are the Eastern Wasteland, Western Desert, Southern Ridge, Northern Plains, and Central Region. Some of these continents are adjacent to each other, while some are separated by oceans. The Tianan region and Sky Marshall continent that you speak of are just 2 small islands near the Eastern Wasteland. That's all. If you compare them in terms of size, it's the difference between an ant and a giant dragon. Lin Xian was speechless and shocked. This news was too shocking. He originally thought that the Sky Marshall continent was big enough and that the kings were very powerful existences. But he didn't expect that compared to the real world, they were like dust. Of course, this is only the simplest summary. As for the real wonders of the world, you need to personally experience it. Lin Xian also knew that just from this description, he couldn't imagine how vast the land was. However, He believed that one day he would leave this place and step into the real, true spirit world. Then, why are you waiting for me? Lin Xian asked again. My master only had one wish in his life, and that was to pursue the supreme martial Tao and become a great emperor. However, the path of martial Tao is very dangerous. My master finally met a great enemy, a person even more terrifying than him. In the end, my master Yigu Chung unfortunately died in battle. However, although he died in battle, his will was not extinguished. So, I followed his last wish and found the successor of the great dragon sword and nurtured him into a true great emperor. What? You want to nurture him into a great emperor? Don't joke around. The crimson dragon jumped up. Kid, I'm not trying to discourage you, but you can become a king or even an invincible king. Maybe you'll be lucky and become a saint. But to become a great emperor, that's simply impossible. The crimson dragon was very excited. Since ancient times, there have only been a few great emperors, and every one of them was a figure that could crush all of eternity. This kind of person, other than being strong, their luck and talent are all the strongest. If one can't reach that, it's impossible to become a great emperor. The crimson dragon said quickly. It was clear that the great emperor held an extraordinary position in their hearts. You're right. However, even if there's only a 1 in 10,000 chance, I still have to try. After all, this was Master's wish when he was alive. Is it so difficult to become a great emperor? Lin Xian didn't understand. Although he knew that the great emperor realm was the final realm, he didn't expect it to be so difficult. Judging from the crimson dragon's attitude, this was almost an impossible height to reach. He too said, It's right, it is indeed very difficult. Isn't the great dragon's sword spirit powerful? However, out of the 4 masters of the great dragon sword spirit, only the first one managed to become the great Emperor Shiman. As for the 2nd generation, the 3rd generation, and even my master, none of them became great emperors. There are even rumors that the successor of the great dragon sword has been cursed. It is impossible for him to become a great emperor. My master wanted to become a great emperor in order to break this curse. What? Even the 2nd and 3rd generations did not succeed. This time, Lin Xian was truly shocked. One had to know that the great dragon sword spirit was an extremely powerful offensive saint technique. Although he could only unleash a portion of its power now, the effect was still very shocking. It could be said that Lin Xian knew very well how powerful the great dragon sword spirit was. In his opinion, as long as he obtained the great dragon sword spirit, he would definitely become a great emperor. However, he didn't expect that the truth wasn't so. You're saying that even if your master didn't die, it's impossible for him to become a great emperor? Lin Xian asked. 100%, you're thinking too much. According to my estimation, it can only reach about 10%. He too shook his head. 10%? You're saying there's only a 1 in 10 chance? Lin Xian was dumbfounded. Brat, what's with your expression? He too was unhappy. Is 1 in 10 very little? Let me tell you, ordinary people can't even reach 1 in 100 million. Even those saints only have 1 in 10,000 chance. My master only has 1 in 10, and that's already very heaven-defying. What? Even saints who are more powerful than kings only have 1 in 10,000 chance. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. He now knew how terrifying it was to become a great emperor. That's natural. Since ancient times, there have only been a few great emperors. They can all be counted. The crimson dragon also shook his head and sighed. I've even read in ancient books that there wasn't a single great emperor in 100,000 years. You can imagine how terrifying that was. Got it? Lin Xian nodded and almost bit his tongue. There were already billions of people in the Sky Martial continent, and the true spirit world was hundreds of times bigger than the sky martial continent. The population was also hundreds of times bigger. However, with so many billions of people, there wasn't a single great emperor in hundreds of thousands of years. One could imagine how terrifying it was to become a great emperor. It could be said that to become a great emperor, other than having extremely powerful strength, one also had to have extremely powerful luck. Only then could one become a great emperor. Lin Xian finally understood why He Tu said that he would nurture him to become a great emperor. The Crimson Dragon's performance was like that, because it was simply impossible. However, Lin Xian clenched his fists after the initial shock, because now he finally had an ultimate goal in life, and that was to embark on the path of becoming a great emperor. You're really willing to help me? Lin Xian looked at the broken sword and asked. To be honest, after knowing the difficulty of becoming a great emperor, Lin Xian was very curious about how He Tu would nurture him. Furthermore, there was another problem. He wanted to know if he could take the Black Earth Spirit ship away. One had to know that this was an extremely powerful flying tool. Whether it was leaving the Devil Abyss or leaving the Sky Martial Continent, he would need this Black Earth Spirit ship. I have cultivation techniques, secret manuals, and some experiences left behind by my master. As long as you're willing, I'll do my best to help you. However, I have a condition. He Tu said, help you take revenge for your master. Lin Xian asked back, you guessed right. That's what I want. He Tu's voice was firm. It was obvious that he had thought of this condition long ago. Then, who's the enemy? I won't tell you now, so as to avoid giving you pressure. When you have the qualifications to take revenge, I'll naturally tell you. He Tu said slowly. Of course, there's one more thing. You have to swear in front of my master's corpse. Otherwise, I won't help you. All right. Lin Xian didn't hesitate. This matter wasn't too bad for him. Furthermore, having an enemy as motivation to move forward was also very good. Chapter 14:13. Of course, there's one more thing. You have to swear in front of my master's corpse. Otherwise, I won't help you. All right. Lin Xian didn't hesitate. This matter wasn't too bad for him. Moreover, having an enemy as a motivation to move forward was also very good. Therefore, Lin Xian didn't hesitate much. He immediately walked to Yi Guqing's side and solemnly swore, don't worry, I'll definitely avenge you. If I go against it, I'll be consigned to eternal damnation. Seeing Lin Xian swear, He Tu heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. Great, there's finally hope for revenge. He Tu was very happy. Don't worry, I'll do my best to help you. From now on, you're my new master. After He Tu finished speaking, he controlled half of his sword and lightly tapped the ground. Suddenly, the ground in front of him emitted a gentle light. Then, countless subdivine crystals appeared. The subdivine crystals that you were looking for were all released by me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to find the Black Earth in this Devil Abyss. So that's how it is. Lin Xian came to a realization. Everything had been secretly manipulated by He Tu in order to let him in. Damn. So many subdivine crystals. Seeing the subdivine crystals on the ground, the Crimson Dragon's eyes immediately turned red. He pounced on them. Ha ha ha, so many subdivine crystals. Mine, it's all mine. The Crimson Dragon went crazy with excitement. Lin Xian also opened his eyes wide in disbelief. The number of subdivine crystals here was many times more than the 50 subdivine crystals he had obtained before. Then he excitedly clenched his fist. With so many subdivine crystals, he believed that he could definitely make the great dragon sword's soul enter the king realm. At that time, his combat strength would definitely undergo an earth-shattering change. Even if he encountered the Black Dragon sect leader and the king demonic beast outside, he wouldn't have any fear. Oh, right. Hey, Tu, I have something to ask you. Lin Xian said. Can the Black Earth still be operated? Although the Black Earth had been stored for a long time, it was not damaged. It was just that it no longer had any energy. Therefore, in the coming days, not only do you have to increase your cultivation, you also have to search for the energy of the Black Earth. Otherwise, you can forget about leaving the Tiannan region and the Sky Martial Continent for the rest of your life. Lin Xian was speechless. He didn't think that they would still lack energy. This was indeed a thorny problem. This was because ordinary spirit boats were unable to cross the endless sea and reach the true great world. Only a genuine Earth-rank flying ship like this could pass through the endless sea. That was why so few people were able to leave the Martial Heaven continent. All right, looks like I can only increase my strength and leave this place. I'll make plans for the raw materials in the future. However, Lin Xian did not forget to send a message to Morong Qingcheng and Ruo Bingshan, telling them not to worry. Otherwise, if the other party were to rush into the demon abyss and encounter danger, that would be bad. Black Earth was directly responsible for sending messages. Apart from not being able to fly, the Black Earth was still able to operate other things. For example, it wasn't difficult for it to activate a few formations and send messages out. This time, Lin Xian did it in time because Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan, who were far away, were indeed anxious. Not only them, Old Master Lin and the others were even more anxious. That was because they realized that Lin Xian had left for a long time and had not returned. Therefore, Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan wanted to go to the demon abyss to investigate. However, before they could move, they heard Lin Xian's voice transmission. After knowing that Lin Xian was safe, the two of them did not move. Otherwise, if they rashly went, they might really encounter the Black Dragon sex leader or a king demonic beast. If that was the case, the two of them would definitely be in danger. With nothing to worry about, Lin Xian began to cultivate here. At the side, the dark red dragon was also quickly absorbing the subdivine crystal to recover its strength. Even the snow-white monkey came out and hugged a subdivine crystal to absorb it. He didn't know if little white could absorb the energy inside, but it seemed like it wouldn't be a problem. No matter what, he had to enter the king realm, because according to He Tu, only by entering the king realm would one be able to survive in the large world. Below the king realm, one was an ant-like existence, no matter where one went. Moreover, Lin Xian was even more special. If others found out that he possessed an offensive saint technique like the Dragon Sword Soul, it would definitely lead to countless crazy pursuers. Therefore, it was impossible to not have strength. Just like that, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon began to cultivate crazily. On the other hand, the Black Dragon sex leader and the King Demonic Beast outside were becoming more and more impatient, because according to their own estimates, the killing formation around them would not be able to last long against two ants. Therefore, in order to save their lives, they would definitely retreat, and they were blocking their path of retreat so they could wait for them to come. However, after such a long time, they did not see a single person at all, which made them more and more uneasy. Could it be that those two ants died in there because they were too greedy? Thinking of this possibility, the Black Dragon sex leader's face was terrifyingly gloomy. 1 day, 2 days, 10 days, 20 days, 1 month. After a month, the Black Dragon sex leader was in complete despair. He knew that with the strength of those two ants, it was impossible for them to survive for such a long time. Presumably, they had died in there. Thinking of this, he sighed. It was a pity that he did not obtain a single divine crystal after so many attempts. Moreover, the Devil Abyss was such a dangerous place that he could not take the risk to enter. Moreover, there was a king demonic beast beside him that was eyeing him covetously. Therefore, with a cold snort, the black dragon sect's leader soared into the sky and left. The king demonic beast let out two roars of dissatisfaction and quickly retreated. The entire devil abyss fell into silence once again, and only the thick clouds and mist drifted here. Lin Xian was still cultivating, and Murong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan were waiting patiently outside because they had received Lin Xian's voice transmission and knew that he was safe now. The only thing they could do was wait for Lin Xian to return. During this time, in the heavenly south region, although the Black Dragon sect had suffered heavy losses, as long as the Black Dragon sect's leader was around, the Martial Alliance and others could not overthrow the Black Dragon sect. Therefore, the entire heavenly south region was still under the Black Dragon sect's rule. As for the distant Tianmu continent, there was also a storm brewing. The palace master of the Palace of Gods of War, Lin Zhan, was still in seclusion and had not come out. After the Duan family suffered a heavy blow, they also became quiet. However, it was obvious that they were waiting. They were waiting for the Duan family's patriarch to come out of seclusion. When that time came, it would be time for them to counterattack. In a primitive forest far away from the cities in the Tianmu continent, there was a huge canyon that was very deep, at least 10,000 meters. At the bottom of the canyon, there was a huge figure. It was a strange bird that was completely black. There were even countless black flames burning on its feathers. These flames were several times stronger than the Black Dragon sect's leader's flames. Chapter 14:14. Tianmu Continent, in a primeval forest far away from the cities. There was a huge canyon here. It was very deep, at least 10,000 meters. At the bottom of the canyon, there was a huge body. It was a strange bird. Its body was pure black, and there were countless black flames burning on its feathers. These flames were many times stronger than the flames of the Black Dragon leader. If Lin Xian was here, he would definitely recognize it. This strange bird was naturally the heavenly netherbird. Previously, after the remote sky's secret realm ended, the heavenly netherbird had followed everyone out and caused a ruckus. However, due to the astral chains on its body, its strength was limited. Coupled with the joint attack of the kings, the heavenly netherbird had suffered a great loss. Therefore, the heavenly netherbird did not appear after that. Furthermore, Lin Xian and the others did not find any traces of it. They did not expect it to be in this uninhabited canyon. At this moment, the heavenly netherbird was sitting there. The 9 underworld black flames were burning on its body. There were still 4 astral chains on its body. However, one of them was very dim, as if it would break at any moment. Pung! Sure enough, under the burning of the 9 nether black flames, one of the chains of stars cracked and broke into 2. The blue chains fell from the heavenly netherbird's body. Feeling this change, the heavenly netherbird suddenly opened its eyes. Its gaze was like a black divine spear that pierced through the void. A human-like smile appeared on the bird's face. Ha ha ha! I've finally succeeded. No matter how strong these astral chains are, they can't stop my 9 underworld black flames. Just you wait. When I burn all 4 astral chains, it will be your doomsday. Damn brat, I won't forgive you, and this entire continent will become hell under my flames. The heavenly netherbird laughed, crazily like a demon. Then it closed its eyes again and burned the other 3 astral chains with all its might. No one knew about the heavenly netherbird, but one could imagine that once it broke free from the shackles of the astral chains, it would definitely be a demon. Perhaps the entire Tianmu continent would be plunged into a catastrophe. However, Lin Xian did not know any of this. He had not woken up since the last time he went into seclusion. The great dragon sword soul in his body was like a bottomless pit, crazily absorbing the power of the sub-god crystal. During this time, The Crimson Dragon and the Snow-White Monkey woke up several times, but Lin Xian still sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, silently cultivating. This one building lasted for a year. A year's time was neither long nor short. However, this year, Murong Qingcheng and Ruo Bingshan were extremely anxious, although the two of them had received Lin Xian's voice transmission earlier. They knew that the other party was safe. However, they didn't expect that Lin Xian would stay for so long. At first, it was 1 month, then 2 months. By the 3rd month, Murong Qingcheng could no longer sit still. This was because she felt that Lin Xian couldn't possibly be in seclusion for such a long time and leave them here. Perhaps something had happened to Lin Xian, so he used the teleportation formation on the spirit boat to send a voice transmission to Lin Xian. However, he never received a response. This made Murong Qingcheng extremely anxious because she knew that if Lin Xian heard her voice transmission, he would definitely respond. However, there was no response now, which confirmed her suspicions. However, Murong Qingcheng didn't believe that something had happened to Lin Xian, so she waited for another month. However, this time, she finally couldn't wait any longer and had to set off for the Demon Abyss. However, although she was also a young prodigy, the Demon Abyss was a king's domain after all. If she didn't become a king, she couldn't enter at all, unless she was like Lin Xian and had a king's killing formation. However, there was only one king's killing formation, so Murong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan couldn't enter at all. They could only wait outside anxiously. In the following days, Murong Qingcheng sent a voice transmission to Lin Xian every 10 days, but she never received a response. Not only that, she insisted on going outside the Demon Abyss every other month to take a look, but there was still no response. Just like that, it was the 9th month. This time, she was finally discovered by someone from the Black Dragon sect. Fortunately, it wasn't the sect leader of the Black Dragon sect, but other martial artists of the sect. These people were nothing to Murong Qingcheng, so she left easily. However, this incident attracted the attention of the Black Dragon sect. Later, more and more Black Dragon sect experts came to patrol the vicinity of the Demon Abyss. They even wanted to capture Murong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan. In the following days, the two of them didn't dare to go out casually. After all, if they encountered the sect leader of the Black Dragon sect, they wouldn't be able to resist at all. In the spirit boat, the two women weren't the only ones who were anxious. The Lin family members were even more anxious. In particular, Old Master Lin and Second Uncle Lin were extremely anxious. Even Old Master Lin wanted to go out to search for them, but he was stopped by Murong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan. If they went out now, it would be tantamount to suicide. However, although they were extremely careful, they were still discovered by the Black Dragon sect's frantic search. Later on, the left and right envoys personally led countless experts to hunt them down. Everyone, listen up. Seal that spirit boat. There's no need to do anything. Wait for the sect leader to come and deal with them. Hee, little beauty, just you wait. When the time comes, you'll suffer a fate worse than death. The left and right envoys' expressions were ferocious. Humph, Murong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan snorted coldly, but the Lin family members were extremely nervous. Don't worry, they're just a bunch of ants. As long as the sect leader of the Black Dragon sect doesn't come personally, we won't be in danger. Rong Qingcheng comforted Old Master Lin and the rest. Luo Bingshan's figure flashed as he rushed out of the spirit boat. Trying to run? Stop her! The right envoys shouted coldly. With a wave of his hand, dozens of figures rushed forward. These people's expressions were ferocious, and their auras were powerful. They were all 9th level honored realm experts. It seemed like they were also experts of the Black Dragon sect. At this moment, more than 10 of them moved together. Even a half-step king would have a headache. Therefore, to these people it was more than enough to deal with a little beauty. Hee, little beauty, hurry up and surrender. Ha ha, I'll take good care of you. The group of people laughed maniacally, completely unconcerned. Humph, Luo Bingshan snorted coldly. In this 1 year, her injuries had already healed, and her strength had already reached its peak. Facing these ninth-level honored realm experts, her gaze was cold, as she quickly pulled out the long saber at her waist. Wung, a saber light slashed out like water, and it was abnormally cold. This saber was like a heavenly river, and it emitted a powerful killing intent, as if it wanted to tear the sky apart. What? Impossibles. Not good. Retreat. The Black Dragon sect martial artists' expressions changed instantly. They were horrified. They had never imagined that a little beauty would be so terrifying. In fact, the killing intent made them feel as if they had fallen into an ice cave. Chapter 14-15. These people were too terrified. They did not expect a young girl to have such a terrifying blade light. Therefore, they could only retreat as fast as they could. At the same time, they activated their battle armors in an attempt to escape. However, this blade was too terrifying. They had no chance of resisting at all. Therefore, in the next moment, dozens of heads flew into the air as blood gushed out like a river. What? They're all dead. The surrounding Black Dragon cult martial artists were shocked. They could not believe it. Even the left and right envoys were shocked. They did not expect the opponent's strength to be so terrifying. She did not seem any weaker than them. Damn it! How is this possible? Who are they? The left and right envoys' faces were gloomy. The strength of the woman and snake that appeared before was already beyond their imagination. They did not expect another woman to appear now. Her strength was not any weaker than theirs. Where did these people come from? It should be known that in the South Heaven region, other than the two of them who were half-step kings, no one else could fight against them. But now, several of them had appeared at once. They could not accept this. Luo Bingshan killed dozens of ninth-level sovereigns with a single blade. Then, his eyes flashed like lightning as his entire body emitted a terrifying aura. Holding the long blade in his hand, he quickly slashed out several blade lights toward the left envoys. The surrounding Black Dragon cult disciples were scared and did not dare to stop him. However, the left envoys roared as his hair stood on end. He was too angry. Although the opponent had the cultivation of half-step king, she was not a true half-step king. However, the opponent still dared to charge at him. It was as if she did not put him in her eyes at all. Therefore, in the next moment, he roared and exploded with an unparalleled strength. He decided to kill the woman in front of him, personally to intimidate the others on the spirit boat. Immediately, a terrifying wave of energy gushed out of the left envoy's body and spread out in all directions. This left envoy was not human. His true form was a green dragon. At this moment, he used his full strength. His dark green hair danced in the wind like countless small green snakes spiraling in the air. His eyes were dark green and emitted a cold and gloomy light. This aura made all the surrounding Black Dragon cult disciples tremble as they involuntarily retreated. At the same time, they cheered excitedly. With the left envoy's help, they would definitely win. Little girl, go to hell. The green dragon left emissary shouted and emitted a green light all over his body. He stretched out his hand, and it turned into a huge green python that covered the sky and rushed forward. Rumble! The terrifying green python tore through the void, creating a terrifying crack in the air. Accompanied by the sound of thunder, it rapidly bombarded the surroundings. That Momentum was exceptionally terrifying. However, Luo Bingshan coldly snorted and disappeared like a ghost. Boom. In the next moment, the void where she was originally standing was shattered. Countless cracks and black holes appeared, but Luo Bingshan's figure had long since disappeared. What? He dodged it! The surrounding black dragon cult cultivators were shocked. As for the left Azure Dragon envoy, his expression was gloomy. He had not expected the other party's speed to be so fast to be able to dodge his attack. So, what if he managed to unleash one more attack? I don't believe that you can dodge all my attacks, the left green dragon envoy sneered. He wanted to crush his opponent with his powerful aura, just as this thought arose in his mind. Suddenly, his expression changed drastically and even became ferocious. There was also a tinge of fear in his eyes. This was because an extremely sharp aura suddenly came from behind him, as if it was going to split him in half. Damn it, get out of my way! The left green dragon envoy roared, and an unparalleled power exploded from his body. At the same time, countless green lights surrounded his body and formed a green snake armor. He was too shocked. He had not expected the other party to appear behind him in an instant and launch a fatal attack. Is the other party an assassin? His heart pounded wildly because he had not sensed the other party's aura at all. He also did not know that the other party had appeared behind him. It was too late to run now because the slash was too fast. It was like a bolt of lightning that enveloped him in an instant. Therefore, he could only use all his strength to take the slash head-on. Boom! An earth-shattering sound was heard as the slash viciously landed on the left green dragon envoy's body, emitting a dazzling light. Unparalleled power spread out in all directions. Block it! The left green dragon envoy's face was ferocious, and even python scales appeared on his body. Countless green snakes circled around his body, and his armor shone with an unparalleled light, like a green sun. However, the slash was too terrifying. It was like a heavenly blade that tore through all obstacles, and even broke the left green dragon envoy's armor. In the next moment, the terrifying slash viciously landed on the left green dragon envoy's body. Immediately, blood spurted out and his bones were broken. A miserable cry was heard. Ah! The left green dragon envoy screamed in a hideous voice. Hearing this voice, the surrounding martial artists felt their scalps go numb. They had not expected the powerful and terrifying left green dragon envoy to be defeated. Moreover, he was defeated in one move. Who was this woman? How could she be so terrifying? Everyone looked at Luo Bingshan with fear in their eyes. The left green dragon envoy used all his strength and quickly retreated. Blood splattered everywhere. In the end, he retreated a few hundred feet and stopped. Drip, drip, blood was still flowing. He was in a terrible state. His entire body was almost split in half, and he had suffered extremely serious injuries. Seeing this scene, everyone swallowed their saliva and could not believe their eyes. That was the left green dragon envoy, a high and mighty existence in the Black Dragon sect in the entire Tianan region. No one could suppress him except for the Black Dragon sect leader. But now, the left green dragon envoy had suffered such serious injuries. Moreover, it was only a young woman who had attacked. She had only used one slash to cause such injuries. This was too terrifying. On the other side, the left green dragon envoy's face was also very gloomy. He had not expected his companion to be defeated in an instant and suffer such serious injuries. Damn it! He roared angrily. His body also exploded with a dazzling white light. He was like a god of war. He was extremely powerful. He had to take action now and suppress his opponent. Otherwise, with her ghostly speed, if she tried to assassinate him, he would be in danger. Look, The left green dragon envoy is attacking. The surrounding black dragon sect martial artists were extremely nervous. They had placed all their hopes on the left green dragon envoy. If the left green dragon envoy was defeated, the black dragon sect would be completely finished. Left green dragon palm. The left green dragon envoy took the initiative to attack. His entire body was supporting a powerful force. Strong winds swept around him, and he would not give his opponent a chance to launch a sneak attack. At the same time, he stretched out his palm and slapped forward. Chapter 14:16. Free and unfettered palm, the right emissary, made the first move. His entire body was filled with a powerful force, and a gale swept through the surroundings. He would not give his opponent a chance to launch a sneak attack. At the same time, he stretched out his palm and slapped forward. A huge light palm flew out from his palm and quickly pressed forward. The resplendent light illuminated the surroundings. That palm of light contained an incomparable amount of energy. This palm was like a white mountain that pushed across the sky. The entire sky shook as if it was about to collapse. Humph! Luo Bingshan snorted coldly. Although the opponent was a half-step king, she did not care about him at all. 8 blades of the ocean abyss. This time, Luo Bingshan did not dodge. Instead, she faced it head-on. The 8 blades of the ocean abyss was an Earth-class cultivation technique. It had been used by the Duan clan's disciple in the remote sky's secret realm. Now, it had reappeared in the hands of the Luo Bingshan. This Earth-class cultivation technique in the hands of Luo Bingshan was several times more powerful than in the hands of Yan Feng. That terrifying saber light transformed into one after another surging Milky Way, constantly roaring in the air. As the blades slashed out, a resplendent light bloomed in the void. The terrifying blade light illuminated the surroundings as it slashed forward. Both of them were using their ultimate techniques. It could be said that their momentum was terrifying. However, Luo Bingshan was using a true Earth-class cultivation technique. As for the right emissary, no matter how powerful he was, he only had a half-step Earth-class cultivation technique. The two of them could not be compared at all. Therefore, as soon as they clashed, the right emissary's huge light palm was sliced apart and turned into countless spiritual chi that dissipated in the air. Impossible! Seeing his ultimate technique being sliced apart so easily, the right emissary screamed. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Impossible! How is this possible? He clenched his teeth. At the same time, his palms changed rapidly. He clenched both hands into fists and punched out. Divine Azura fist. The terrifying fist bloomed with blood-red light. The right emissary's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Boundless, killing, intent sword from his body. At this moment, he used another ultimate technique, the Divine Azura Fist. Apart from being terrifying, this fist technique also carried a dense, baleful aura. It dyed the entire sky red. Those fist shadows transformed into red flood dragons, rushing out at high speed. For a time, the sky once again fell into chaos. The eyes of the surrounding black dragon cult disciples were also bloodshot. Each and every one of them looked ferocious and wanted nothing more than to pounce forward and fight. However, they were simply unable to approach. Merely the aftermath of the energy was enough to blow them away. Luo Bingshan, on the other hand, had an ice-cold expression. With a light snort, the long saber in his hand slashed out again. 8 blades of the ocean abyss. The second blade, white shark slash. The long saber slashed out, and countless saber lights gathered to form a huge white shark. This great white shark's entire body was radiating light. Its entire body was formed from saber radiance. It was extremely terrifying. It carried with it an astonishingly sharp aura as it flew quickly in the air. Instantly, the countless baleful auras in the sky were sliced into countless pieces by the saber light and fell rapidly. The two blood-colored divine fists were also swallowed by the white shark formed by the saber light. What? It broke again. This is impossible. The carefree right emissary felt his scalp go numb in disbelief. Although he knew that his opponent was powerful and had the strength of a half-step king, it was still impossible for him to break through his attack so easily. It should be known that he was also a half-step king. No matter what, both sides would have to exchange several hundred moves before the outcome would be decided. However, his opponent's strength was too powerful. Moreover, his attack power was extremely sharp. Victory and defeat were often decided in one move. How was this a battle between two people of the same realm? This was simply a one-sided battle. The carefree right emissary seemed to have gone mad and wanted to attack again. However, opposite him, Luo Bingshan coldly said, "You don't have the chance." 8 blades of the ocean abyss, the third blade. The long saber flickered, and this time it transformed into a huge whale that roared in the air. That huge body completely filled the entire sky. The terrifying power made everyone's heart tremble. Even some of the weaker ones directly knelt down. "No," the carefree right emissary frantically shouted. However, that huge blue whale directly floated down and swallowed him. Terrifying energy exploded, completely submerging the entire void. Bang! Bang! The carefree right emissary screamed again, and again as he was blasted away by this energy. Many places on his body were pierced, and terrifying bloody holes appeared one after another. Blood flowed out continuously, and his bones were broken. It could be said that he had suffered severe injuries. It seemed that he would not live for long. What? The carefree right emissary was also defeated? How is this possible? Everyone was extremely shocked and did not dare to believe it. The left and right emissaries were existences that were second only to the sect leader in the Black Dragon sect. They were experts that were second only to the sect leader. However, at this moment, they were actually defeated by someone, and it was an easy defeat. Moreover, the opponent was only a young and beautiful woman. They probably did not even dream of such a scene. Luo Bingshan coldly snorted and glanced around. Immediately, the disciples of the Black Dragon sect were so frightened that they all sat on the ground, not daring to resist. Luo Bingshan snorted again and put away his long saber. He turned around and walked towards the spirit boat. She had no interest in the surrounding disciples because they were not worthy of her attack. Seeing that she was about to leave, the disciples of the Black Dragon sect did not dare to stop her. They only hoped that this murderous star in front of them would leave quickly so that they could live. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. A black light suddenly lit up the sky. It was like a black lightning bolt that instantly rushed towards Luo Bingshan. Wherever it passed, the entire sky seemed to be split in half. Terrifying airwaves rolled out in all directions. The speed was so fast that it produced a muffled sound that made one's scalp numb. "You're courting death." Luo Bingshan glared with anger. She did not expect that the other party would dare to attack. She snorted coldly and turned around to slash with her saber. Boom! The air exploded, producing a huge amount of energy that swept out in all directions. However, the result was beyond everyone's expectations. Previously, Luo Bingshan was extremely powerful and defeated the left and right envoys with a few simple moves. But now, she was actually blasted away. That's right, it was Luo Bingshan who was sent flying in this collision. Everyone was shocked and in disbelief. Boom, boom, boom. Luo Bingshan only stopped after retreating for a few thousand meters. There was even a trace of blood at the corner of her mouth. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock because she did not expect that someone could send her flying. In the next moment, Luo Bingshan's face was cold as she looked ahead. Then, she was stunned and a trace of shock appeared on her face. The person who sent her flying was the left green dragon envoy. It was the person who was almost split in half by her saber. What? How is this possible? With such a serious injury, he can't even exert much combat strength? But now, the other party was full of energy and the aura on his body was much stronger than before. What's going on? Not only was Luo Bingshan puzzled, but everyone was also confused. Chapter 14:17. Luo Bingshan's jade-like face was cold as she looked ahead. Then she was stunned and a trace of shock appeared on her face, because the one who sent her flying was actually the left green dragon envoy. It was the person who was almost split in half by her. What? How is this possible? He can't even fight with such a heavy injury? But now the other party was full of energy, and his aura was even stronger than before. What's going on? Not only was Luo Bingshan confused, but everyone was also confused. They knew that something unexpected must have happened because the left green dragon envoy had already changed his appearance. His body, which had been split into two, had begun to heal at this moment. Countless black flames danced between his wounds. Not only that, but there were also black lines that appeared on his body. They were densely packed and looked very mysterious. In his eye sockets, there were two balls of black flames dancing. Every time they jumped, they released an extremely powerful aura. Luo Bingshan observed carefully and said coldly, "You're not the person from before." She realized that although this person's body was the same as before, his aura and soul were different. "Humph, I didn't expect you to have some knowledge. You can actually see that I'm a clone." A cold voice came from the left green dragon envoy. Hearing this voice, the surrounding black dragon sect martial artists were all shocked. What? That's the sect leader's voice. Sect leader. It's the sect leader. The sect leader has made his move. Everyone was extremely excited as they looked at the left green dragon envoy in front of them, because they knew that the sect leader was a true king. He could kill everyone as long as he made his move. The sect leader of the Black Dragon sect? This is impossible. How can a king's aura be so weak? Luo Bingshan frowned. Humph, what do you know? This is just a clone of mine. Although it's just a clone, it's not something you can fight against. I advise you to kneel down obediently and surrender. Maybe I can let you go and take you as a slave. Otherwise, you'll all die without a burial place. It's just a clone. Luo Bingshan frowned. She didn't expect a king to be so powerful. Just a clone was enough to send her flying. But then, she gritted her teeth and snorted coldly, "Don't be so arrogant. If your real body came, I naturally wouldn't be able to resist. But it's just a clone. Do you really think you can subdue me?" Luo Bingshan snorted coldly. Then he clenched his long saber and attacked quickly. Humph! It seems like you still don't understand the strength of a king. All right, I'll let you experience it today. The left green dragon envoy sneered. The black light in his eyes suddenly bloomed, and the black lines on his body also shone with a jet black light. She looked extremely ferocious. Then she let out a roar and charged forward. For a moment, the two of them were locked in battle. Terrifying energy surged as everyone watched nervously. At this moment, the carefree right emissary, who had been severely injured, suddenly screamed. A ferocious look appeared on his face. Black veins began to appear all over his body, starting from the back of his neck and spreading all over his body. "Sect leader, spare my life. Spare me." The carefree right emissary knelt in the air and shouted with great difficulty. However, no one paid any attention to him. Not only did the black veins on his body not weaken, they spread even faster and covered his entire body in an instant. In the end, the carefree right emissary screamed. His eyes lost their light, and he froze in the air like a statue. But soon, 2 balls of black flames appeared in his eyes. Then he stood up again. Black veins appeared all over his body, shining with a jet-black light. 2 balls of black flames danced in his eyes, and he looked extremely cold. "Humph, trash. It's your honor to have my clone here." A low and cold voice came from the carefree right emissary. Obviously, this was the other clone of the Black Dragon sect leader. The 2 clones attacked together, determined to take down the spiritual boat in front. The carefree right emissary looked around coldly. Then he stared at Luo Bingshan in front of him. A cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Then he turned into a bolt of black lightning and charged forward. The battle ahead was extremely intense. Luo Bingshan held his long saber and looked like a killing god. His saber radiance was like water. It was extremely cold and released a terrifying aura. Every saber gleam was like a Milky Way as it swept through the surroundings. On the other side, the green dragon left emissary was even more berserk. He was no longer the green dragon from before. Instead, he was the clone of the Black Dragon sect leader. Boundless black flames spread all over his body, releasing a scorching aura. Every strike of his terrifying black palm could pierce through the void. "I admit that you're very strong and can defeat the majority of half-step kings, but against me, you have no chance of victory. Black Dragon Palm, die for me." The green dragon left emissary laughed nastily. The black veins on his palm shone brightly. He waved his palm. Immediately, a black dragon flew out of his palm and roared as it charged forward. Soon, it turned into a dragon-shaped palm. The palm directly shattered all the saber radiances in front of him. The terrifying palm was like a black demonic mountain as it pressed down on Luo Bingshan. The palm hadn't yet arrived, but that scorching and berserk aura was still blowing against Luo Bingshan's black robe. Luo Bingshan even felt an extremely hot aura, as if it was going to melt her. With a delicate shout, Luo Bingshan released all her spiritual power and struck out with the 4th move of the 8 blades of the ocean abyss. A shocking saber radiance tore through the void, releasing a terrifying aura. However, at this moment, another cold aura rushed over from behind her left. It was the right emissary. He took advantage of Luo Bingshan's moment to launch a sneak attack. Not good. Feeling this killing intent, Luo Bingshan's heart beat wildly. The Lin family clansmen on the spirit boat cried out in alarm. However, the right and right emissaries revealed a sinister smile. In their eyes, the other party was dead for sure. The surrounding Black Dragon sect martial artists cheered wildly. This was great. The demoness before them was finally going to be killed. The 2 clones of the Black Dragon sect leader charged toward Luo Bingshan together. However, at this moment, a purple radiance descended from the sky and blocked the right emissary's path. This radiance was like a purple aura coming from the east. It carried boundless energy and blocked the right emissary, resolving Luo Bingshan's crisis. Damn it! The right emissary roared crazily. He didn't expect such a good opportunity to kill to be blocked. This made him extremely furious. Luo Bingshan breathed a sigh of relief. She knew that Morong Qingcheng had made her move. Sure enough, the purple cloud in the sky quickly transformed into a beautiful woman. This woman wore a purple dress and had an extremely beautiful face. She was like a fairy that didn't belong to the mortal world. She was Morong Chingcheng. When Luo Binson was in danger, she acted in time and blocked the right emissary. Another woman? The right emissary was shocked. He didn't expect it to be another young woman. Chapter 14:18. This woman was dressed in a long purple dress. Her face was extremely beautiful, like a fairy, untainted by the mortal world. She was Morong Chingcheng. When Luo Bingshan was in danger, she intervened in time and stopped the right emissary. Another woman? The right emissary was shocked. He did not expect another young woman to intervene. He thought for a long time, but he could not figure out who the woman in purple was. However, when he saw her beautiful face, a sinister smile appeared on his face. I did not expect such a beauty to exist in this world. It just so happens that I am lacking a wife. Be a good girl and follow me back. Don't worry, as long as you obey me, I will let your companions go. Otherwise, I will chop them into pieces. Humph, wishful thinking. Morong Chingcheng snorted coldly. Her beautiful face was filled with coldness. In the next moment, purple light gushed out from her body. In an instant, it became vast and mighty, forming a purple auspicious cloud. Between heaven and earth, countless purple lights surrounded it. It was as if a fairy had descended from the east. As soon as the purple aura appeared, the scorching aura in the void weakened significantly. I did not expect that you are not only beautiful, but also powerful. But this is good. You are even more suitable to be my wife. So, be a good girl and obey me. The right emissary laughed sinisterly. Then he quickly rushed toward Morong Chingcheng. On the other side, green dragons was sure, and Luo Bingshan were fighting fiercely again. Morong Chingcheng snorted coldly. Without hesitation, she quickly took out the True Phoenix Imperial Jade Seal. Then she infused the power of her bloodline into it. Buzz! Behind her, a purple phoenix projection appeared. In the end, it formed two purple phoenix wings and wrapped Morong Chingcheng's delicate body. The terrifying phoenix shadow hovered around her. She waved her hand, and a purple phoenix rushed out. It roared in the air and attacked the right emissary. What a pure phoenix bloodline! The right emissary's pupils shrank. He was shocked. Then he became ecstatic again. Good, good, good. I did not expect you to have such a pure bloodline power. All the more I cannot let you go. Roar. In the next moment, the carefree right emissary let out a long howl. Suddenly, a clap of thunder resounded through the heavens and earth. Around him, 8 black lightning companions appeared, descending along with him. Every single black lightning bolt could kill a half-step king, and that terrifying aura made everyone despair. 8 black thunderbolts surrounded the carefree right emissary and bombarded in all directions. This scene was too terrifying. Every single bolt of lightning could kill a half-step king. The surrounding black dragon sect martial practitioners, as well as the Lin family clansmen on the spirit boat in the distance, all revealed terrified expressions. In the face of this black lightning, they had no power to resist at all. Old Master Lin, second Uncle Lin, and the others were especially worried about the safety of Morong Chingcheng and Luo Bingshan. Boom! A black thunderbolt shot out at a high speed towards Morong Chingcheng, exploding right next to her. The terrifying lightning illuminated the surroundings, making it impossible for anyone to open their eyes. Morong Chingcheng's expression also changed. She let out a shout and quickly used the cosmic battle armor to cover her body. At the same time, she madly pushed the Phoenix Phantom behind her. Suddenly, the blue cosmic battle armor appeared and completely covered her body, leaving only her beautiful eyes exposed. Not only that, the huge phoenix behind her spread its wings and enveloped Murong Qingcheng. Boom! Murong Qingcheng took the attack of the black lightning head-on and was immediately forced back. However, with the cosmic battle armor reducing the damage by 70% and the protection of the Phoenix Phantom, she did not suffer any injuries this time. Only the qi and blood in her body continued to churn. What? She blocked it! The carefree right emissary was shocked. He did not expect his opponent to be able to block his black lightning attack. One had to know that this was a black lightning that could kill a half-step king. His opponent was only a 9th celestial layer girl. How could she block it? No, that blue armor is very strange. It seems to be able to reduce the power by more than half. The carefree right emissary's eyes were like lightning as he stared at the cosmic battle armor. Then, a fiery light burst out from his eyes. Even I don't have such a battle armor. Where did this girl get it? I don't care. This treasure must be mine. The flames of greed appeared in his eyes. He had no choice. Even if he was the Black Dragon sect leader, he did not have such a thing. Even in the Tianwu continent, there were not many of them. Moreover, in the remote Tianan region, it was even more impossible to have one. Girl, hurry up and surrender. You can't resist at all. The carefree right emissary sneered again. Then he waved his hand. Suddenly, the few black lightning bolts around him rushed forward like black dragons. Then, a series of thunderous sounds rang out in the sky. The terrifying thunder shook heaven and earth, causing the surrounding martial artists to tremble. Many people's minds went blank, and they fell from the sky. In the distance, the spirit boat shone with incomparable light. The array on it was fully activated to resist the surging power. Inside the spirit boat, old Master Lin and the other Lin family members were pale. They were shocked to see this apocalyptic scene. Fortunately, the spirit boat's defense was very strong. It did not break through in a short time. Therefore, they were not hurt at all. Thunderous sounds rang out in the sky. Flashing with incomparable energy, Murong Qingcheng was forced to retreat. Then 7 black lightning bolts connected the sky and the earth. They flew quickly toward Murong Qingcheng and locked her in the sky. The 7 black lightning bolts shot into the sky and formed a 7-pointed star cage, trapping Murong Qingcheng in it. Sealed? That's great. The Black Dragon sect martial artists in the distance cheered when they saw this scene. The carefree right emissary sneered. He even crossed his arms and looked like he was watching a show. How is it, girl? I told you, you're no match for me. You'd better go back with me and be my sect leader's wife. On the other side, Luo Bingshan saw this scene and shouted. She turned around to save Murong Qingcheng. However, she was blocked by the green dragon left emissary. Hee, you'd better worry about yourself first. The green dragon left emissary sneered. His eyes were blazing. Countless black flames surged on his palm and formed a black dragon claw. He clawed forward. Boom! The black dragon claw was extremely terrifying. It carried a monstrous force and tore the void apart. 5 bowl-sized black holes appeared. Black light flashed. Luo Bingshan did not dare to take it head-on. She could only dodge quickly. However, the opponent was very fast. Therefore, Luo Bingshan was at a disadvantage. She could not spare any time to save Murong Qingcheng. The carefree right emissary sneered. He stepped into the air and walked toward Murong Qingcheng. Chapter 14:19. Boom. The black dragon claw was extremely terrifying. It instantly tore through the void and even created 5 bowl-sized black holes. It flickered with a dark light. Luo Bingshan did not dare to take it head-on. He could only dodge quickly. However, his opponent was also very fast. Therefore, Luo Bingshan was at a disadvantage and could not spare any time to rescue him. The carefree envoy of the right had a sinister smile on his face. He stepped into the air and walked toward Morong Qingcheng. "Little girl, come with me obediently." He laughed sinisterly and reached out a huge palm to grab Morong Qingcheng. This time, Morong Qingcheng shouted. A purple phoenix rushed out of her body and roared in all directions. An extremely powerful energy surged out and blasted the carefree envoy of the right's hand, instantly pushing him back. His palm even cracked, revealing the bones on the balcony. You die." The carefree envoy of the right felt a stab of pain and was furious. His face immediately became ferocious. He did not expect his opponent to still have the strength to resist after being trapped by his 7 lightning bolts. Moreover, the power was so terrifying that it even pierced through his hand. This was too great. It was hard to believe. "Humph, I don't believe you can hold on for long." The carefree envoy of the right snorted with a sinister expression. Suddenly, several lightning bolts in the sky continuously bombarded. Morong Qingcheng's face was cold. She supported the purple phoenix and resisted with difficulty. Although she was not in danger for now, it would not be long before she was injured by the black lightning bolts. On the other side, Green Dragon's Washer also used his great magic power to create countless black flames. They formed a black flame cage and directly trapped Luo Bingshan inside. "Ha ha!" Green Dragon's Washer laughed loudly when he saw that Luo Bingshan was trapped and could not escape. The surrounding Black Dragon sect martial artists laughed wildly. Their expressions were full of excitement. "Subdued. We finally subdued 2 troublesome enemies." As expected of the sect leader's clone, "He's too powerful." The left and right envoys also sneered. Then they ignored Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan. In their opinion, the other party could not hold on for long. It was better to trap and suppress them first. Therefore, the 2 of them turned around and stared at the spirit boat in the distance. The left and right messengers sneered before they slowly walked towards the spirit boat. The demonic abyss below was surrounded by clouds and mist. It was extremely mysterious, and in this demon abyss there was an extremely large spirit ship called the Black Earth. The Black Earth had existed in the demon abyss for countless years, but no one had ever known about it. This was because no one had ever been able to enter the demon abyss. Of course, there was one exception, and that was Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian had been training on the Black Earth for a year. His entire body was surrounded by resplendent light and surging energy, making him look like a holy war god. On the side, the Crimson Dragon and the Snow White Monkey had already woken up. Among them, the Crimson Dragon had absorbed a large amount of energy from the demigod realm and had successfully recovered to the king realm 2 months ago. He had become a 1-star king tier. This caused the Crimson Dragon to be extremely excited during these 2 months. It roared nonstop, causing the entire demon abyss to be filled with ghostly wails and howls. Fortunately, there weren't any cultivators nearby. Otherwise, they would definitely be scared to death. However, after being excited for 2 months, the Crimson Dragon was also tired. Therefore, it was lying on the side, listlessly. On the side, the Snow White Monkey was also hugging a spirit fruit and eating happily. It had also absorbed a lot of demigod crystals. Although it hadn't entered the king's scripture, the Crimson Dragon had tested it. With its current strength, it was still unable to completely subdue the monkey. This meant that the monkey was at least a king realm expert. This monkey is too strange. What kind of species is it? Even I couldn't tell. The Crimson Dragon held its chin and was extremely displeased. On the side, The black soil was still attached to the broken sword. It floated in the sky and circled around the snow-white monkey. To be honest, even he was slightly suspicious and couldn't be sure. I say, "Hey, too, when will this brat wake up? It's already been a year. It's really boring to be cooped up in this spirit ship." The Crimson Dragon asked. During this year, it had become familiar with the black soil. The black soil was just a slightly more powerful artifact spirit. It wasn't strange to the Crimson Dragon. The black soil shook the broken sword and said, "Not necessarily. The great dragon sword soul is extremely mysterious. No one knows how much strength he needs to enter the king realm. But I think it's about time. Perhaps he'll wake up in a month or two," the black soil said slowly. In the end, it looked at the Crimson Dragon. "Oh, right, you should go out for a while. Your companions outside are in danger. You're saying that those two girls and the people on the spirit ship are in danger?" The Crimson Dragon jumped up. It should be the Black Dragon sect that attacked them. Moreover, the situation is very bad. Damn, why didn't you say such an important thing earlier? The Crimson Dragon was anxious. He knew that the people on the spirit ship were extremely important to Lin Xian. If anything happened, Lin Xian would definitely go berserk. At that time, he didn't dare to imagine the consequences. Sure enough, before he could move, Lin Xian, who had been cultivating, suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze was as sharp as a sword, causing the entire space to tremble violently. Next time something like this happens, say it earlier. Lin Xian's voice was cold. He quickly stood up, then his figure flashed and instantly disappeared. Only the Crimson Dragon and the black soil floating in the air were left behind. Fortunately, you said it. Otherwise, he would definitely tear your black soil apart. The Crimson Dragon sighed. He knew Lin Xian's temper very well, and the importance of the people on the ship to Lin Xian. The black soil shook his sword. He didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a temper. However, after half a day, he came back to his senses. "Yes, not bad. You're indeed a loyal person. Looks like I didn't choose the wrong person." In the end, the black soil became happy again. "All right, I'll go take a look." The Crimson Dragon ignored the black soil and left. Wooji Wooji, the snow-white monkey, also jumped on the Crimson Dragon's back and hugged the spirit fruit, unwilling to let go. In the outside world, in the sky of the state of Xia, Murong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan were resisting with difficulty. A purple phoenix circled around Murong Qingcheng's body, resisting the 7 black lightning bolts around her. The 7 black lightning bolts kept shrinking and were now less than 50 feet away from her. Luo Bingshan was in even more danger. The black flame cage was less than 30 feet away from her. Soon, it would burn her if she was burned by the black flames. Even if she had the strength of a half-step king, she wouldn't be able to resist. However, this wasn't the most worrying thing. The most worrying thing was the spirit ship behind them. Chapter 1420. Luo Bingshan was in even more danger. The black flame cage was less than 10 meters away from her. Soon, it would burn her if she was burned by the black flame. Even if she had the strength of a half-step king, it would be difficult for her to resist. However, this was not the most worrying thing. The most worrying thing was the spirit boat behind them. Everyone on it was the Lin family members. Not a single venerable was present. If the formation on the spirit boat was broken, the people on it would be in danger. No. Luo Bingshan's eyes were filled with despair. "Don't you dare." Murong Qingqing's face was cold as she trembled with anger. She activated her bloodline power and bombarded the black lightning around her. However, no matter what she did, she could not shake it at all. This made her feel powerless. She even bit her lip until it bled. Those were Lin Xian's family members. Before Lin Xian left, he had told her to protect these people, but now she had to watch the Lin family members suffer. How was she going to explain this to Lin Xian in the future? The left and right envoys sneered and slowly approached the spirit boat. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect this spirit boat to be of such a high grade. It's actually a half-Earth rank artifact, and it's even a half-Earth rank artifact. The left and right envoys looked at the spirit boat and nodded. It seemed that they were very satisfied with this spirit boat. The formation on it is also very exquisite. Ordinary half-step kings can't break it at all. But now, that might not be the case. The two of them sneered. They were not ordinary half-step kings, but the clones of the Black Dragon Hierarch. Their strength was above that of half-step kings. Therefore, as long as they attacked with all their strength, it would not be a problem to break the formation. As for the Lin family members on it, they naturally did not care. In their eyes, they were just a bunch of ants. They just wanted to kill them. What they wanted was the spirit boat. Boom. The left envoys sneered and pressed forward with their palms. Suddenly, a black palm surged out and slammed into the spirit boat. Buzz. The formation on the spirit boat spun and flickered with a dazzling light. It quickly resisted the attack. There was a violent explosion in the air, and the entire spirit boat shook violently. The Lin family clansmen inside were thrown to the side. Clan leader, what should we do? The members of the Lin family were terrified. They could only look at Old Master Lin. Old Master Lin's face was also gloomy. He didn't expect to fall into danger again, after just escaping from the ice. If these people were killed, then the Lin family's bloodline would be cut off. However, as the head of the family, he could not afford to panic. Why are you panicking? This spirit boat is very magical, and the array formation on it is also very huge. They might not be able to break it. Furthermore, I believe that little Xian will definitely return. Hearing Old Master Lin's words, the surrounding Lin family members calmed down. Then they clenched their fists and looked outside angrily through the array. Outside, Green Dragon Swisher was surprised after he struck out with his palm. He didn't expect the formation to be so powerful that it could withstand his attack. This array is so mysterious. I'm afraid it's not from the Tianan region. Where did it come from? Could it be something from the Tianwu continent? Green Dragon Swisher's eyes flashed. The more he looked at it, the more he felt that it was possible, because only that place could create such an exquisite thing. Stop fooling around. Hurry up and take back the spirit boat. Carefree envoy you said in a low voice. Then a bolt of black lightning appeared in his palm again and quickly blasted forward. Rumble! The black lightning carried a monstrous force and struck the spirit boat, causing countless explosions. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them kept attacking the array formation on the spirit boat. Both of them were king's avatars and were extremely powerful. Now that they were attacking together, the array formation trembled nonstop. The light screen shook violently and looked like it would break at any time. At the back, Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan's faces were pale. They fought back frantically, trying to escape from the cage. However, they couldn't break through the black dragon flame and the black lightning. They could only watch as the left and right envoys attacked. Crack, crack, crack. Finally, under the intense attacks, the light screen on the spirit boat cracked like a mirror. Terrifying cracks crawled all over it. Oh no! Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan's faces changed. They knew that things were going to get worse. Without the defense of the array formation, the Lin family members couldn't withstand a casual attack from the left and right envoys. On the spirit boat, the Lin family members' faces changed drastically. They didn't expect the array formation to break. Even Old Master Lin's face darkened. However, as the head of the Lin family, he still roared, "The Lin family members aren't cowards. Even if we have to die, we will die in battle. Everyone listen up. Pick up your weapons." Yes, the Lin family members behind him roared. At this moment, the wildness in their hearts rose. They took out their swords and sabers, ready to fight to the death. "You want to fight to the death with us?" The left and right envoys sneered. "A bunch of ants. Do you really think you can defeat a giant dragon? You're overestimating yourselves." To be honest, they couldn't care less. To them, the people in front of them were no different from ants. With a single finger, they could easily wipe out the entire Lin family. The left and right envoys looked down at the Lin family members as though they were looking at ants. As long as they used their strength, they could kill all of them. In the next moment, Green Dragon's Wisher sneered and slowly raised his arm. Just as the arm was about to land, he suddenly frowned and turned his head to the left. "You're courting death." With a roar, Green Dragon's Wisher didn't attack again. Instead, he quickly slashed his palm to the left. Buzz. In the next moment, the void vibrated and a figure appeared. It was a middle-aged man in black. He had an ordinary face and held a long sword in his hand that emitted a cold light. However, at this moment, the middle-aged assassin's face was pale, and there was a tinge of fear in his eyes. His body swayed, and he quickly retreated to the back. However, Green Dragon's Wisher's palm was faster. Like a black dragon claw, it grabbed the assassin and crushed his head. Boom! Like a watermelon being split open, blood splattered, and the headless corpse fell to the ground. "Trying to sneak an attack on me? You're courting death." Green Dragon's Wisher sneered, and his face was full of disdain. On the spiritual boat, in front, the Lin family martial artists were in despair. This was because they knew that the martial artist who had attacked them was one of the 3 5-star assassins who had been protecting them. This person was powerful and could even assassinate a peak rank 9 martial artist. However, he couldn't even dodge a single attack from Green Dragon's Wisher. He was killed directly. This was too terrifying. Chapter 14:21. Looking at the scene before them, the Lin family martial artists on the spiritual boat in front were in despair. This was because they knew that the martial artist who had attacked them was one of the 3 5-star assassins who had been protecting them. This person was so powerful that he could even assassinate a peak rank 9 martial artist. However, he could not even dodge a single attack from the left Green Dragon envoy. He was killed directly. This was too terrifying. Behind them, Murong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan looked solemn. Green Dragon's Wisher sneered and attacked again. In the next moment, 2 figures emerged from the void and charged toward the left Green Dragon emissary and right Carefree emissary, respectively. Their appearance was very sudden, as if they were ghosts. The aura on their bodies was even sharper. They seemed to have become one with the long swords in their hands, forming a killing sword that exuded a terrifying murderous aura. This murderous aura was so strong that it materialized into rays of light that surrounded their bodies. Those who were proficient in assassination knew that this murderous aura was too terrifying. It was formed from countless battles and blood. It had a terrifying aura. An ordinary martial artist would not be able to resist this aura at all. Just this murderous aura alone could destroy the opponent's will and soul. In the next moment, the 2 of them turned into shocking rays of light and stabbed the left and right envoys. However, the left and right envoys sneered. They already knew that there was someone beside them. When they saw the other party attack, they snorted in disdain. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The 2 long swords turned into cold rays of light and stabbed respectively. However, they stopped 3 meters away from them. It was as if they were grabbed by a pair of invisible hands and could not move forward at all. Ants will always be ants. Even if it's an assassination, you won't stand a chance. Carefree Envoy sneered in disdain. He then pointed his finger. Poof, poof. The bodies of the two 5-star assassins split open and turned into a bloody mist that filled the air. In the face of two king avatars, they had no power to resist at all. Ah, they're all dead. On the spiritual boat, the Lin family members were shocked and in despair when they saw this. They did not expect that the 3 5-star assassins who had been protecting them would be killed so easily. Were they really at the end of their rope? All right, the game is over. You have no more tricks up your sleeves. Now, I'll send you on your way. The carefree right emissary grinned as countless lightning bolts surged out of his palm and circled around his fingertips. In the next moment, he stretched out his palm and grabbed forward. No. Luo Bingshan frantically shook his head. Everyone, listen up. Kill. Old Master Lin shouted angrily as he gripped the long sword in his hand tightly. The Lin clansmen behind him also had resolute expressions on their faces. Even if they were to die in battle, they would not tarnish the reputation of the Lin family. Lin Xian, come quickly. Murong Qingqing screamed. Tears streamed down her face. Ha ha ha! No matter how you struggle, you won't be able to escape death. This is the fate of an ant. The carefree right emissary laughed arrogantly, then quickly pressed his palm down. Boom! An earth-shattering collision sounded, and a terrifying energy exploded in the air. Murong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan had already closed their eyes. They simply didn't dare to continue watching. As for the Lin family members behind them, they were all prepared to fight to the death, determined to fight to the death. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared and landed in front of the Lin clansmen. Then he threw a punch. Boom! In the next moment, a scream was heard in the air. The scream was extremely miserable, and it did not even sound like it came from a human. What? The Lin clansmen were all stunned because they realized that the scream did not come from them. Then they looked forward and froze on the spot. Some of them even trembled quickly, and their eyes were filled with ecstasy. The green dragon left emissary was shocked and could not believe his eyes. In the distance, Murong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan's eyebrows trembled slightly, and their tightly shut eyes quickly opened. This was because they knew that the situation seemed to have changed. Indeed, in the next moment, they looked into the distance and were all stunned. Even Murong Qingqing stopped crying and smiled, revealing her beautiful face. In front of the spirit ship in the air, a figure stood. It was a very young man who looked to be in his 20s. However, at this moment, he was standing in the air, emitting a cold aura, like a god of death. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes were like lightning, like two peerless swords sweeping across the area. It was him who had sent the right emissary flying with a punch. Who are you? Beside him, the green dragon left emissary looked at the young man with a gloomy gaze. I don't care who you are. Since you dared to hurt me, I'll kill you. In the distance, the right emissary flew over quickly. His expression was extremely ferocious, and his body emitted a terrifying killing intent. The blow just now had caused him serious injuries, and his entire right arm was completely shattered. At this moment, he held his weak right arm and rushed over quickly. His gaze was like a sword, and the killing intent on his body was undisguised. Lin Xian, Master, Xiao Xian, exclamations sounded, and those voices were filled with endless shock and joy. That's right, the young man who looked like a god of swords was Lin Xian. When he learned that the Lin family and Murong Qingqing were in danger, he immediately rushed out of the black earth and finally arrived in time at the last moment. Grandpa, second uncle, and the rest of the family, don't worry. With me around, they won't hurt you. Lin Xian waved his hand and immediately set up another array on the spirit ship, completely protecting the Lin family. At this moment, the Crimson Dragon appeared in front of them. It waved its dragon claws, and in an instant, Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan were rescued. Then, the three of them swayed and came to Lin Xian's side. You're injured. Hurry up and take these. Lin Xian took out a few elixirs and distributed them to Luo Bingshan and Morong Qingcheng. Then he looked at Morong Qingcheng again, gently wiped the tears on her face, and said softly, I've made you worry. You really scared me to death. Morong Qingcheng grumbled through her tears and smiled. Lin Xian also felt guilty, so he reached out and gently pulled Morong Qingcheng into his arms, quickly comforting her. At the side, Luo Bingshan and the Lin family members behind him were all smiles, but the left and right emissaries in front of them had dark expressions. This was because they realized that the people in front of them had completely ignored them. That's right, ignored them. The other party didn't care about them at all. The two of them didn't even look at them. This kind of neglect was even worse than contempt. The left and right emissaries, who had always been arrogant, couldn't tolerate it at all. Moreover, they were the clones of the Black Dragon sect's leader. Who in the world dared to ignore them? And now, the young man in front of them dared to treat them like this. Therefore, they swore that they would definitely kill the other party to relieve the hatred in their hearts. Brat, no matter who you are, you'll die for injuring me. The carefree right emissary's voice was unusually ferocious. Beside him, the left emissary of the Green Dragon didn't say anything, but his cold eyes were also fixed on Lin Xian. Lin Xian frowned, looked at the two of them, and said in a deep voice, Left and right emissaries, Chapter 1422. Brat, I don't care who you are. Since you dared to injure me, you must die. Carefree right emissary's voice was exceptionally sinister. On the side, Green Dragon left emissary did not speak, but his ice-cold gaze was also firmly fixed on Lin Xian. Lin Xian's brows creased as he looked at the two and said in a deep voice, Left and right emissaries. In truth, he was somewhat surprised, because the left and right emissaries he knew were not like this. Moreover, the other party's aura was too strange, far beyond that of a half-step king. No wonder Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan could not beat him, because no half-step king could beat this kind of aura. They are not the left and right emissaries, but the doppelgangers of the Black Dragon hierarch. Morong Qingcheng explained. The real left and right emissaries were already dead. Their bodies had been snatched and their doppelgangers had been sent down. Therefore, their strength had greatly increased. Lin Xian, you must be careful. King's doppelgangers? No wonder. Lin Xian came to a realization as he stared ahead with a piercingly cold gaze. I don't care if you two are doppelgangers or something else. Since you've touched my bottom line, both of you must die today. What? You want both of us to die? What a joke. The left and right emissaries sneered. Brat, do you know who you're talking to? What an idiot. We're not half-step kings, but true king's doppelgangers. Kneel down obediently and offer me the treasures and beauties. Then I can spare your puny life. Otherwise, all of you will die. Humph. Just two doppelgangers. What's there to be arrogant about? The Crimson Dragon snorted disdainfully. Back then, even your true bodies were sent flying, not to mention you two. What? You sent our true bodies flying? Hearing these words, the left and right emissaries were shocked. Everyone else was stunned. Morong Qingcheng, Luo Bingshan, and the Lin family members were all stunned. These two's true bodies were the Black Dragon Hierarch. They were true kings. And this crimson dragon in front of them had actually sent them flying. What was going on? They simply did not know that Lin Xian and the crimson dragon had already met the Black Dragon Hierarchs. Therefore, these people were extremely shocked, while the left and right emissaries. "Who are you?" The left green dragon envoy coldly snorted. Although it was only a clone, his soul was connected to the Black Dragon religious leader. Of course, red and right emissary of Titus Est. STS? T? Humph, the little black flood dragon. Don't you remember? Back then, of Titus USA. TTS? T, the Tess? S, T suddenly. Their pupils constricted as if they had thought of something. They pointed at Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon and trembled. Single quote S. "It seems like you've remembered." Lin Xian looked ahead and smirked. "S gods, that's great. Ha 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 ha." I thought the great dragon sword spirit had gone far away and was not fated with me in this life. I didn't expect you to come knocking on my door. Since that's the case, I'll take it. The left and right emissaries were too excited. They had already remembered what had happened. The young man and the crimson snake in front of them were the ones who had fought with them for the great dragon sword spirit. In other words, these two people had the great dragon sword spirit. If they could capture these two people, they would definitely be able to obtain the great dragon sword spirit. Thinking of this, the left and right emissaries' eyes lit up. Not only that, but the Black Dragon Hierarch, who was far away in the horizon, had also made a move and was flying towards them like a madman. He had already missed the great dragon sword spirit once, so this time he would not miss it again. On the other side, the left and right emissaries unleashed their powerful auras and rushed towards Lin Xian. At this moment, their eyes were filled with madness. They had already received orders from the Black Dragon Hierarch. No matter what, they had to capture Lin Xian. Even if they could not, they had to delay until the Black Dragon Hierarch arrived. "Lin Xian, be careful!" Murong Qingqing shouted anxiously when he saw the two rushing over. Lin Xian patted Murong Qingqing's back and comforted him. "Don't worry, leave it to me." Then he took a step forward, and an extremely powerful aura surged from his body. This year of cultivation had greatly increased his strength. Although he had not reached the true king realm, he had already surpassed the half-step king realm. Even if he was facing two king realm clones, he was still not afraid. In the next moment, Lin Xian was like a sword god. His body was surrounded by terrifying sword chi. Countless sword chi surged in the surroundings, causing the entire void to distort. Humph! With a cold snort, Lin Xian raised his arm and pointed a finger. Suddenly, a ray of light shot out like an angry dragon. This was an earth-rank martial art, void-shattering finger. At this moment, when Lin Xian executed it, it was even more terrifying. The dazzling ray of light streaked across the sky with endless sounds of wind and thunder. It even pierced through the void. Boom! A terrifying collision sound was heard. The void-shattering finger fiercely collided with the right emissary's shoulder and instantly pierced through it. Ah! The right emissary immediately stopped and roared into the sky. His expression was extremely ferocious. His entire body was trembling. Previously, Lin Xian had shattered his entire right arm, and now his left shoulder was pierced through. In other words, his entire left arm was crippled. Now that both his arms were crippled, his combat strength had greatly decreased. Not only that, his bright red blood flowed rapidly along his arm and dripped into the sky, dyeing the entire sky red. What? How is this possible? Everyone was shocked because they all knew the right emissary's strength. He had already surpassed the half-step king realm. However, such a terrifying existence had been severely injured by Lin Xian with a single finger. This was simply unbelievable. Especially the left emissary of Jing Qingjiao. His eyelids were twitching. Damn it, what level has this kid reached? How is his strength so powerful? To be honest, he was simply too shocked. It should be known that even a half-step king would be powerless before them. But now the opponent's finger had caused such a terrifying commotion. This meant that the opponent's strength was definitely above the half-step king realm. "Kid, I'm going to kill you," the right emissary roared, his expression incomparably ferocious. He no longer cared about his shoulder that had been pierced through. His entire body turned into a flood of black light and rapidly charged toward Lin Xian. Not only that, a terrifying black flame soared from his body, burning fiercely. The entire void was distorted and melted. Although he had lost both his arms, the right emissary had become even more terrifying. In an instant, he had arrived in front of Lin Xian. His right leg was like a dragon as it quickly kicked out. Immediately, the void in front of him exploded. The power of this kick was too violent. It was like an ancient demonic mountain that swept toward Lin Xian. If he was hit, he would definitely be cut in half. Chapter 14:23. Lin Xian coldly snorted as a cold light flashed in his eyes. Since the other party dared to make a move on his family, then he would have to face his boundless rage. His palms quickly formed a seal, and immediately a sky rock shadow appeared in his palm. Then Lin Xian fiercely pressed forward. Sky Rock Dragon. Lin Xian used the Sky Rock Dragon technique and directly transformed into an ancient demonic beast that quickly charged forward. Boom. In the next moment, the two collided, and a powerful energy wave burst forth. Like a raging sea, it continuously slammed in all directions. In an instant, Lin Xian's body was covered by the starry sky battle armor. As for the rest, they were handed over to the Crimson Dragon. The other party was now a true king, and this bit of power was nothing to him. Therefore, with a wave of his dragon claw, he protected everyone. In the next moment, a blood-curdling scream suddenly came from the void, and there was also the sound of bones shattering. Obviously, the outcome of the battle had been decided after one blow. The right emissary was extremely ferocious. His entire right leg was completely broken, and his face was extremely twisted. "Ah, kid, you dare to hurt me? I'll kill you. I'll definitely kill you." The black flames on his body became even more vigorous, and in the end, he turned into a monstrous black flame that rushed toward Lin Xian. "Die." A ferocious voice came from the black flame. Lin Xian coldly snorted and clenched his fist. Suddenly, a sharp sword light slashed forward. Puff! The sword slashed out with incomparable sharpness. In the next moment, the black flame was instantly cut in half. Even the aura of the great dragon sword spirit that was contained within it directly extinguished the remaining black flame. This scene shocked everyone. They did not expect Lin Xian to kill the carefree right emissary in front of them in just an instant. Such means were simply too terrifying. One had to know that the right emissary was an existence that surpassed the half-step king realm and was even the clone of a king. He was extremely terrifying, but he was killed by this young man in front of them with a single slash. This ending was probably something that they had never dreamed of. On the other side, the left green dragon emissary's eyelids twitched wildly. He did not expect the young man in front of him to be so powerful, and his strength had already surpassed them. This made him feel a sense of despair. However, the Black Dragon sect master had ordered them to delay the person before them no matter what. In the next moment, He gritted his teeth and transformed into a black flood dragon, covering the entire sky. Brat, so what if you're strong? Against a true king, you'll definitely die. Just you wait. My main body will be here soon. Then, it will be the time of your death. The black flood dragon roared in all directions. Then, the huge black dragon in the sky suddenly exploded, turning into countless black flames that instantly enveloped Lin Xian and the others. There were black flames everywhere in the sky and on the ground. It could be said that the entire space had been sealed. Even a half-step king would not be able to escape. Only a true king would be able to break through the void. This method was too terrifying. If an ordinary person was trapped here, they probably wouldn't be able to get out. However, this time, the Black Dragon Hierarch was wrong. He had absolutely underestimated Lin Xian. Lin Xian's current strength had already surpassed half-step kings. Moreover, he had many methods at his disposal. Breaking this seal could be said to be a piece of cake. Moreover, they had the Crimson Dragon behind them, which had already reached the true king realm. Therefore, Lin Xian did not care about this seal in the slightest. Let's go back to the spirit boat. Lin Xian brought Morong Qingcheng and the others back to the spirit boat. Then he raised his hand and set up several arrays. Rizalong, it's up to you. The next moment, the dark red divine dragon roared, and a red dragon shadow rushed out, instantly breaking through the black flame cage that was set up around them. Not only that, the dragon waved its claw, and hundreds of rays of light flew out, instantly killing the remaining Black Dragon sect martial artists. In an instant, the entire sky was filled with a bright red mist of blood. The Crimson Dragon led the way in front, leading Lin Xian and the others into the demonic abyss. On the other side, the Black Dragon Hierarch was like a bolt of black lightning, rapidly flying through the air. He was extremely anxious because the great dragon sword spirit was such a good opportunity that he absolutely could not miss it. Moreover, according to the news from his doppelganger, he had already set up the omnidirectional sealing array, completely sealing Lin Xian and the others. This made him inwardly heave a sigh of relief. One had to know that the array was formed by his black dragon flames. No one below the king realm could break it, no matter how strong the other party was. As long as they were not true kings, they would not be able to break out. This gave him time and opportunity. Just you wait. The great dragon sword spirit will definitely be mine. When I obtain the great dragon sword spirit, not to mention the South Heaven region, even the Sky Martial Continent will not be my match. The entire world will be mine. Ha ha ha. The Black Dragon Hierarch's black robe fluttered as he let out a sinister laugh and quickly disappeared into the air. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon led the spirit boat into the mysterious demonic abyss. This is the demonic abyss? The mysterious demonic abyss? Old Master Lin, second Uncle Lin, and the others were shocked. They could not believe that they had actually entered the demonic abyss. During this period of time, they naturally knew that the demonic abyss was the reason for such earth-shattering changes in the Xia country. It was said that the demonic abyss was incomparably mysterious. Only the Black Dragon Hierarch could enter. Once others entered, they would not be able to leave alive. Who would have thought that they would actually enter safely? On the side, Morong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan were even more shocked. As Ninth Heaven Venerables, their strength was not inferior to half-step kings. Naturally, they knew what the previous battle meant. It meant that Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon's strength had definitely surpassed half-step kings. This was especially true for the Black Dragon God, who even had an aura that made their hearts tremble. Morong Qingcheng was even more shocked because this aura could only be felt from the patriarch of the Morong family. This was the aura of a king. Ruzalong, you've entered the king realm and become a king? Murong Chingching's eyes widened. She could not believe it. Of course. How is it? Little girl, are you scared? The Crimson Dragon laughed wildly and was extremely proud. It could be said that recovering to the king realm was the proudest thing he had done during this period of time. Murong Qingcheng was speechless, while Lin Xian was speechless and pulled him to the side. Ignore this guy. This guy just entered the king realm and wants nothing more than for the whole world to know. Of course, Ben Huang has recovered to the king realm and his strength has greatly increased. In the future, he can beat up anyone he dislikes. Kid, if you're rude to me again, believe it or not, I'll hang you up and beat you up too. You can try. If you really do it, don't even think about the subcrystal in the future. Lin Xian shrugged and did not care. Damn. Kid, you win. Ben Huang will endure it. The Crimson Dragon instantly lost his temper. He still had to rely on subdivine crystals to recover, so it was naturally impossible for him to beat up Lin Xian. On the other hand, Murong Qingcheng was speechless. Why does it sound like entering the king realm is an extremely easy thing? Heavens, I am not dreaming, am I? Murong Qingcheng, pinch your cheeks. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.